Chapter 30-70. The true inheritance dark sword was unleashed. Hearing that anxious voice, all the elders were stunned. In fact, after the Azura god descended, they had already given up. They knew that they would definitely die, but who knew that Lin Ling was still fighting? Attack! However, the elders also knew that there was no time to lose, so they all used their remaining strength. It had to be said that when a person was on the brink of death, their potential was indeed terrifying. The 9 saints were actually able to block the green flame snake for a short period of time. What terrifying power! However, despite this being the case, those elders still spoke one after another, knowing that they might not be able to last an incense stick of time. When they looked at Lin Ling again, they realized that Lin Ling had disappeared. This sudden turn of events caused their jaws to drop. Ha ha ha, he has already escaped. All of you have become scapegoats. On the contrary, Yan Nan's excited laughter rang out, causing those old men to come to their senses. Could it be that Lin Ling knew that the great calamity was approaching, so he ordered them to fight with their lives on the line while he himself escaped? At this moment, everyone's hearts were filled with a bitter taste. They were incomparably dejected. The Azura god, unless one's karma is exhausted, only then can one be reborn. Because of this face, it is called Avicii. The Azura hell, roughly speaking, is nothing. But right at this moment, boundless light shone from above the chaos. Amidst the boundless light, a sword descended from the sky in a dazzling and mysterious manner. It's Lin Ling. The elders were still resisting Yan Nan's power, but at this moment, they all looked up and saw a swordsman in the void. It was as if a sword demon from the era of the gods had descended from the sky. This scene shocked their hearts, and they would never forget it for the rest of their lives. Because that was Lin Ling. Lin Ling didn't run. He had also made a move, and he was the last to make a move. Interesting. Yan Nan was still disdainful, but when he recalled the voices in the sky, his eyes immediately changed. Because those voices were talking about the Tao of the Azura Divine Fist. How could this be? The voice came from Lin Ling's mouth. How could Lin Ling know about the Azura Divine Fist? One must know that this mysterious martial art was taught to him by his master. His master even said that no one in the 9 continents knew about it except for the underworld. Watch me break you. At the same time, a sharp sound came from the sky. A sword was descending. In your dreams. Yama couldn't care less about the shock in his heart. He raised his head to the sky and roared, activating his innate ability. He wanted to kill Lin Ling. Crackle. However, at this moment, the world of plants appeared. Black vines that filled the sky instantly grew, filling the chaotic space with black vines. They actually tied up the Azura snake behind Yan Nan. Of course, this also made Yan Nan laugh disdainfully. How could his talent be suppressed so easily? Little Kunlun, draw talent. However, just as Yan Nan smiled, a mysterious force came crashing down on him, causing him to realize that his talent had been sealed. He couldn't help but look at those black vines in shock, as if he wanted to know what kind of divine item they were. Yan Nan, is this all that your master taught you? You've brought shame to my name. At the same time, a sword shot out. The Azura snake happened to be tied up by the black vines, so the sword shot cleanly between the Azura snake's eyes, and even directly pierced through. Rumble. The Azura snake's eyes seemed to be its weak point. The sword went from the snake's head to the snake's tail. Then, the huge Azura snake exploded. The scene was extremely spectacular. Puff. Yan Nan was forced to retreat as blood continued to spurt out from his mouth. This kid's technique is too powerful. As for the elders of the Cloud Saint Ground, they looked as if they had seen a ghost. They looked at the blue-robed young man floating in the sky as if they were looking at the arrival of a peerless sword god. With the strength of a martial immortal, it was impossible for him to break through the technique of a 5th-level half-saint. Puff. Yan Nan spurted out another mouthful of blood. He looked at Lin Ling in shock and asked, "How did you know my technique?" "It's just luck." Lin Ling's long hair fluttered in the wind. He held his sword at a slanted angle and said indifferently, "It's just luck." Previously, when Lin Ling injured Yan Nan thought that Lin Ling was just lucky. Moreover, he felt that a person's luck wouldn't be good forever. However, Lin Ling had just told him that Lin Ling's luck was just that good. Good. No wonder you could kill Junior Ling Bao and the others. You do have some skills. It seems like I have to use my true strength. Yan Nan was so angry that he started to laugh and nodded his head continuously. He had not been able to kill Lin Ling in a row today. If he were to return to his master would definitely reprimand him and even give him a resounding slap. Moreover, he would no longer have any face in the heavenly court. To be able to force me to this extent, you are the first person in the martial immortal realm. You should be proud. You should be proud. After he shook his head, his hand touched the sword on his waist. Suddenly, an endless amount of brilliance appeared. The brilliance formed into rays of light that shot out in all directions, illuminating the entire chaotic universe. The true inheritance nether sword, the sword of my master, martial god Qilin. To be able to die by the sword, what else do you have left unsatisfied? Yan Nan slowly pulled out the sword. The sword aura that could break the 9 provinces and shatter the mountains erupted wildly. Chapter 3071. Snatch the sword. Yan Nan was also surprised by Lin Ling's perseverance. However, he still reprimanded Lin Ling as if he was a senior. Moreover, his right hand had already unsheathed his sword. The chi of true darkness filled the air, making him look as if he was holding the most dazzling sword in the world. I'll kill anyone from the heavenly court that I see. However, Lin Ling also drew his bow. His face was cold and emotionless. Martial god Qilin was revered and respected. Was he a saint? The reason he was where he was today was because he betrayed Li Xiaoyao. Now that Lin Ling was here to collect his debt, the heavenly court thought that he was cruel. Since that was the case, there was no need for the heavenly court to give him any face. Lin Ling, right? Very good, very good. I can't help but admire your courage. Unfortunately, you won't have that chance. Bang! Bang! The void suddenly exploded as Yan Nan charged forward with his sword. Crack! Wherever he passed, the surrounding void was sliced open, and cracks appeared like spider webs. He's dead. Lin Ling definitely won't be able to block that sword. That sword can probably kill a mid-half saint. Bang! Why is Lin Ling so stupid? Bang! Lin Ling, leave quickly. We'll block him for you. Bang! The eyes of the elders of the Cloud Saint Ground were red as they cried out anxiously. Lin Ling was the ruler of Qing province. Moreover, he was young and had extraordinary potential. He represented the pride of Qing province and was the most promising junior to become the god of Qing province. Therefore, the saints of the Cloud Saint Ground did not want Lin Ling to die here. They even blamed Lin Ling for being so stupid as to fight a fifth heaven half-saint expert head-on. This was simply too arrogant. I have my reasons for not retreating. Bang! However, Lin Ling had already started to draw the Calamity Destroyer bow. He roared, his voice filled with unprecedented determination. If you don't retreat, then die. Bang! Yan Nan swung his right arm and silently chanted the sword control mantra. The sword was drawn as if it was a true inheritance. He wanted to sacrifice Lin Ling to the sword. Bang! The sword pierced through Lin Ling's chest. Even the chaos behind Lin Ling was pierced. Lin Ling! Bang! Upon seeing this, the expressions of the old men from the Cloud Saint Land changed drastically. Hee, this is what you get for going against my master. Today, I will use my sword to kill you on behalf of my master. Bang! Yan Nan still maintained his sword stance and the smile on his face was extremely ferocious. You are not qualified to use this sword. Bang! At this moment, Lin Ling spat out a mouthful of blood. However, he lifted his head and looked at Yan Nan with determination. What a joke! How could a mere ant like you know the origins of this sword? Bang! When he heard this, Yan Nan laughed out loud. His laughter was filled with disdain. Do you understand the sorrow of the sword? Bang! Do you understand the helplessness of the sword? Bang! If the person who holds the sword does not understand the soul of the sword, then he is not qualified to hold the sword. Bang! Lin Ling's eyes were calm. His voice was like thunder. The dazzling sword emitted a strange light as if it understood Lin Ling's words. Under the invasion of Lin Ling's blood and soul, the sword began to tremble as if it was trying to break free from something. Yan Nan did not know any of this. He did not even know that Lin Ling had been baiting him to draw the sword. This was because the sword belonged to Li Xiaoyao. Using Li Xiaoyao's sword to kill Li Xiaoyao was impossible. Let me tell you, you little ant. There are a total of 18 true inheritance dark swords. They were left behind by the gods. During the post-gods era, my master, martial god Qilin, wandered the land of gods and conquered the 18 true inheritance dark swords. Everyone in the land of the 9 prefectures knows about this. Yan Nan laughed and said disdainfully. How dare a person who was about to die talk about swords in front of him? He did not know what was good for him. Haha. Lin Ling laughed. His laughter was arrogant and mocking, shameless. Sword, come out now. Lin Ling looked down at the true inheritance dark sword and shouted in a low voice. You dog, you can't even close your eyes when you are about to die? Yan Nan laughed coldly when he saw this. Sword, come out. Does Lin Ling think that he is martial god Qilin? In the land of the 9 prefectures, the only person who could control the true inheritance dark sword was his master. Even he could not do it. Therefore, his master told him that he could control the true inheritance dark sword. According to his master, when the 18 swords of the true inheritance dark sword were combined, they could even kill a god. It was a treasure that surpassed supreme weapons. You little ant, you don't know what it means to be strong. Yan Nan shook his head in disdain. However, before he could finish his sentence, he felt the sword tremble and let out a deafening cry. His arm began to lose its balance. A strong murderous aura enveloped him. The sword seemed to want to kill him. How can this be? The murderous aura was so terrifying that Yan Nan could not bear to let go of the sword. He retreated and his eyes were filled with suspicion. Suddenly, he stared at Lin Ling and an unbelievable thought appeared in his mind. It made his heart turn cold. Yan Nan, you said that I am a little ant and that I don't know anything about swords. But why is this sword trying to kill you now? The sword slowly floated out of Lin Ling's chest as if it had a life of its own. What did you do? You piece of trash. Yan Nan was infuriated when he saw this. This was a sword that his master had temporarily given to him. If it was snatched away by someone else, his master would definitely kill him. Furthermore, Lin Ling didn't have the divine words to control the divine sword. Why didn't the sword kill him? You will never understand what I did. If your master were here, he would have the right to know. Lin Ling did not explain anything. With a thought, the dazzling sword floated above his head. Yan Nan's expression changed drastically when he saw this. Lin Ling can really control this divine sword. After all, Lin Ling had mocked him for not knowing anything about the sword. At that time, he'd treated Lin Ling like a dog and barked madly, and he couldn't be bothered to explain himself at all. Because he felt that Lin Ling and he were from 2 different worlds. He was a saint while Lin Ling was an ant that was like a dog. But now, the sword had appeared on its own and was even controlled by Lin Ling. This change did not mean that he, Yan Nan, was far from being able to understand swords. He was the real ant. Die. Ignoring Yan Nan's shock, Lin Ling gently released the dragon Biyao in his hand. The heavenly dragon's protection, good karma increases by the day. Roar. A dragon roared and opened its mouth in anger, shooting towards Yan Nan. Lin Ling, you can do it. This reversal of the situation caused all the elders in the distance to become excited. Asher's Jade Snake, Snake Fist. Seeing the terrifying sword shooting towards him, Yan Nan did not dare to be careless. Fortunately, his talent was the desolate body. Although it was sealed by Mini Kunlun, it was quickly recovered. Rumble. His fist transformed into a huge green flame snake and collided with the dragon god's arrow. This kid is full of secrets. The power of this arrow is beyond my imagination. But after the collision, Yan Nan's heart was pounding. Chapter 3072. The battle between the gods was nothing more than this. Ka ka ka. Yan Nan's arrow had been blocked. After all, Yan Nan was a sage at the 5th level of the half-saint realm. Lin Ling, I'll kill you today. Yan Nan's confidence was greatly boosted when he realized this. You are not qualified. Hearing this, Lin Ling coldly spat out, I'll let you see what a true inheritance of the dark sword is. Lin Ling's eyebrows twitched as the divine sword that was floating above his head shot towards Yan Nan, piercing through the void. The power of the attack caused Yan Nan's eyes to widen. Not only had Lin Ling stolen his sword, he had even taken control of it. Whoosh! A sword pierced through his chest, seriously injuring him. Then, an arrow from the calamity-destroying Biyao pierced through his neck. A figure floated down from the void of the universe. Yan Nan, the disciple of martial god Qilin, a sacred master who had founded the sect, had been defeated. In the chaos of the universe, there was only silence. The saints from the cloud's sacred land were completely silent. They never imagined that Lin Ling's combat strength would be so terrifying when he unleashed his full strength. Lin Ling, take care of yourself. However, at this moment, a weak voice drifted out, causing the elders to realize that Yan Nan was still alive even though he had sustained such heavy injuries. Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. They knew that the latter was from the heavenly court. If they couldn't stop him, then Qing State and even Lin Ling would be in great trouble. Ha ha ha, if I, Yan Nan, want to leave, no one can stop me. Boom! The void exploded, and countless ASU green flames sputtered out. By the time everything dissipated, Yan Nan had already disappeared without a trace. Damn it! Seeing that, those old men all started to curse out angrily. They were feeling extremely unreconciled. Half-step Saint Realm, his strength is indeed impressive. However, Yan Nan is too optimistic. After being hit by the heavenly dragon's arrow, his past, present, and future will all be destroyed. However, Lin Ling smiled and said faintly, Is what you said true? Hearing this, everyone was overjoyed. It must be true. Let's leave this place first. Seniors, thank you for your help earlier. However, the heavenly court is my, Lin Ling's, archenemy, so I cannot return to the cloud holy ground. However, I promise you that in the future, as long as seniors say the word, I, Lin Ling, will go through water and tread on fire without hesitation. Lin Ling bowed to the crowd. If it weren't for them today, he, Lin Ling, would definitely not be Yan Nan's opponent. Furthermore, Lin Ling wouldn't have been able to escape if it had been another expert at the 5th level of the half-saint realm. The reason why he was able to defeat the half-saint realm expert was because he was familiar with the half-saint realm expert and the dark sword inheritance. It could be said that if Li Xiaoyao were to fight Lin Ling, unless he was in the saint realm, Lin Ling would be able to defeat him one by one. Go. Today's battle has moved us. Your future potential is boundless. Staying in the cloud holy land would be burying you. That's right. Although we really want you to accompany us, we don't want to hold you back. Lin Ling, go. In the future, let us hear your name in the 9 prefectures. If you have the chance to come back to the Qin prefecture, just come and visit us. The old men smiled in relief. It was as if they could see the successor of the Cloud Holy Land rising in the 9 prefectures. Hearing these words, Lin Ling's blood boiled. He had only met these seniors once, but they treated him so well. This moved him greatly. I won't disappoint you. In the future, you will definitely be able to hear my name, Lin Ling, in any corner of the 9 prefectures. Lin Ling bowed deeply to the crowd and took a big step forward, heading into the distance. What a proud kid. Huh, I like it. Let's go. The old men looked at each other and laughed heartily. Thinking back to the previous battle, they were extremely excited. Even though Lin Ling was the one who had defeated Yan Nan, they had also contributed a portion of their strength. Furthermore, they had also contributed to defeating a sage who was at the 5th level of the half-saint realm. This was undoubtedly a kind of honor and a kind of pride. In the chaotic universe, the storm was still rolling. In a distant place, many cultivators were trembling in fear as they looked into the distance. A battle between the gods is nothing more than this. Who was that blue-robed young man? He was so fierce. Such an expert is someone we can only look up to for the rest of our lives. The cultivators spoke one after another, their eyes filled with admiration. In the chaotic universe, powerful strength was the foundation of a cultivator's admiration. Therefore, the blue-robed young man was not only someone they could look up to, but also someone they could chase for the rest of their lives. At this moment, in a certain ethereal palace in the 9 prefectures, an old man had his left hand behind his back. His right hand was sprinkling spirit seeds to feed a red-crowned crane. From afar, this scene was extremely ethereal. But soon, the old man frowned. Honored master. Not long after, a haggard figure rushed into the palace and knelt down on one knee in front of the old man. Yan Nan, what happened? The old man glanced at the person in front of him and asked in a low voice. Lin Ling injured me. He has a godly bow and his strength is extremely terrifying. I'm not his match for now. The man looked at the old man anxiously and finally said. What? Didn't I give you the true inheritance, the dark sword? Honored master, this sword has been taken by Lin Ling. Silence. When the man's last words floated out, the old man was instantly stunned. Chapter 3073. Spirit State's Illusion God Sect Plop. However, Lin Ling had only taken a few steps when he felt the world spinning around him. His entire body fell to the ground. Previously, he had already suffered heavy injuries from the battle with the sage-to-be sage. Coupled with the fact that he had hurried over, he naturally collapsed from exhaustion. After falling into a deep sleep, Lin Ling felt his entire body relax. Ever since he started learning martial arts, he had rarely rested and had always been fighting. This time, he finally had a good rest. After an unknown amount of time, angry shouts rang in his ears. At the same time, warm sunlight shone down, causing Lin Ling's slender eyelashes to flutter slightly. Finally, he opened his eyes. What entered his eyes was an ancient wooden house. There was only a bed, a table, and a chair in the house. It looked extremely simple. Where is this? Seeing this, Lin Ling's expression changed slightly. He was currently being targeted by the entire Heavenly Court. If he was caught by the Heavenly Court, he would not be able to fight back with his current strength. You're awake? However, at this moment, a surprised voice rang out. Soon after, 2 figures walked in. It was a man and a woman. The man was tall and had a similar temperament to Sakura. The woman was about 18 or 19 years old and had a 70% appearance. Their strength was at the true god realm. Seeing this, Lin Ling quietly hid his cultivation and asked, where is this? The man and woman's cultivation was not as high as Lin Ling's, so naturally, they could not see through Lin Ling's cultivation. The woman smiled and said, this is the illusion god sect in the spirit state. Hearing this, Lin Ling's heart relaxed. Luckily, this was the spirit state. This meant that he was not far from the tantric sect. You've rested for 3 months. Along the way, my father also came to see you. However, he could not see any injuries on you. Luckily, you're awake now. You, go and tell father. The two of them smiled and said enthusiastically. No need. Lin Ling stood up and looked at the 2 swords beside the bed. Then, he carried them on his back. Of course, he was surprised that the tyrannical Song sword and the true inheritance dark sword were not taken away. Where are you going? Seeing that Lin Ling was about to leave, the 2 of them spoke up. Thank you for the past 3 months. If anything happens in the spirit province, tell them my name, Lin Ling. Lin Ling didn't plan to stay any longer and strode away. His words left the 2 people dumbfounded. Brother, is he stupid? Well, I'm not too sure either. I feel like he just woke up. I'm afraid he's still not fully awake. The 2 of them looked at each other and hurriedly chased after him. They clearly did not take Lin Ling's previous words to heart. If anything happened in the spirit province, just tell them Lin Ling's name. How domineering was that? However, if the person who said it was someone from the 2 sects, they might have believed it. But it was a mere youth. They didn't have the courage to believe it. Outside the room, the charming sunlight fell on Lin Ling's body, causing him to reveal a faint smile. He looked around and discovered that there was a huge square not far from the room. A large number of youths were practicing martial arts. Some were sitting cross-legged, while others were comprehending the ultimate martial Tao. Some were strong, some were weak. Some were true immortals, and some were world kings. And this was clearly a sect. Looking at these youths, Lin Ling felt a long-lost feeling. Not long ago, he was like these youths, full of vigor and fighting spirit. Qi Yang, the illusion god sect's large competition is about to begin. How has your strength increased? Are you still comprehending those trash martial arts? At this time, a voice came from the front. Then, several figures walked over. Gu Mingjun, the illusion god sect's large competition is in a year. Don't be too proud now. Behind Lin Ling, the man and woman from before also walked over. It could be seen that they were brother and sister. Trash, trash. If you're not senior brother Gu's match now, how could you not be trash in a year's time? Seeing this, the people around the youth laughed mockingly. They didn't give the brother and sister any face. Qi Yang, it's not that I'm looking down on you, but your sect has indeed declined. Let me tell you, it's impossible for you to surpass me. My goal is to become a disciple of one of the 10 great sections. I'm not someone you can look up to. As for the youth, he proudly said with his hands behind his back. His words caused the man and woman to grit their teeth, but they didn't dare to say anything. In the spirit province, all the geniuses had the goal of becoming a disciple of one of the 10 great sections. The 10 great sects were the super sects of the 2 sections. Being able to enter one of them meant having a meteoric rise. Unfortunately, the spirit province was boundless and filled with geniuses. It was extremely difficult to enter one of the 10 great sects. And right now, Gu Mingjun was one of the most promising geniuses of the illusionary god sect. Hearing their words, Lin Ling's eyes flickered and he inwardly shook his head. These people were all proud of becoming a disciple of one of the 10 great sects, but Lin Ling's luck was pretty good. He had already become a disciple of one of the 4 heavenly kings. The difference in treatment was like heaven and earth. Of course, their strength couldn't compare to Lin Ling, so this was normal. Without any intention of stopping, Lin Ling continued to walk forward. Stop, were you shaking your head before? Do you think I'm not qualified to enter one of the 10 great sects? But at this moment, Gu Mingjun narrowed his eyes and spoke. His words were directed at Lin Ling. He had heard of Lin Ling before. 3 months ago, he was saved by the Qi Yang siblings in the plains. However, he looked very ordinary. The only thing that piqued Gu Mingjun's interest was that this youth was related to the Qi Yang siblings. Even Qi Yu of the Qi Yang siblings seemed to take care of this youth, which made him jealous. This was because he had been pursuing Qi Yu, but the latter had always ignored him. "Kid, senior brother Gu asked you a question." The others also spoke out one after another. In the square, everyone stopped practicing martial arts and watched this scene. "I have no interest in whether you enter one of the 10 great sects or not." Lin Ling continued to walk forward and said indifferently. His words were earth-shattering. Everyone thought that Lin Ling would soften a little or be unyielding and not fear senior brother Gu. But who knew that Lin Ling would neither soften nor confront him directly? Instead, he used a cold tone to speak, and that tone was one of disregard. "Crazy," many people secretly said. "Kid, are you courting death?" Gu Mingjun didn't expect Lin Ling to ignore him. "What? You want to attack me? You're still too weak. If you attack, you'll be the one at a disadvantage." However, Lin Ling didn't even look at him as he spoke. He didn't even bother to stay there. It was as if he was in an ancient well and watching a group of toads croak. He really didn't want to croak with these toads and see whose voice was louder. This was the reason for his worldview. What? What? However, the moment Lin Ling's words fell, there were even more exclamations. Chapter 3074. You'd better be prepared. With your strength, I can deal with you in one move. Out of respect for Elder Qi, I'll give you a chance to apologize. Kneel down and I'll forgive you. Gu Mingjun said. I'll also give you a chance. Get out of my sight and I'll forgive you. Forgive me. But who knew that Lin Ling would also say disdainfully. Wait, I'm afraid there's some misunderstanding here. Why don't you apologize? Forgive me. Qi Yu quickly tried to smooth things over. She pulled Lin Ling's arm and said, Don't offend him. He's one of the strongest geniuses in our sect. If you offend him, you'll be in trouble. Forgive me. Qi Yu, you don't need to plead for him. Today, I won't give anyone face. Forgive me. Looking at Qi Yu pulling Lin Ling's arm, Gu Mingjun's heart burned with jealousy. He stared at Lin Ling and said, You're just a piece of trash. What qualifications do you have to talk to me? Be careful. Be careful, I'll stop him. You leave quickly. Forgive me. Seeing that Gu Mingjun was about to attack, Qi Yang took a big step forward and arrived in front of Lin Ling. Gu Mingjun, do you really have to attack an ordinary person? Don't you feel ashamed? Forgive me. At the same time, he looked at Gu Mingjun and said, Leave quickly. My big brother will stop him. Forgive me. Qi Yu whispered to Lin Ling, her words causing Lin Ling to shake his head. Since Qi Yu wanted him to leave, he might as well leave. After which, he left in large strides. His decisiveness caused the crowd to laugh endlessly. This young man was indeed a coward. Qi Yu was also stunned. She didn't expect Lin Ling to be so decisive. Her impression of Lin Ling instantly dropped. As for Qi Yang, he helplessly shook his head. Of course, he knew that the reason why Lin Ling was targeted by Gu Mingjun was because of him. With Gu Mingjun's strength, he wouldn't want to teach a stranger a lesson for no reason. Qi Yang, if you want to protect him, then let's see if you have the strength. Come, let me see your soul martial arts. Gu Mingjun took a step forward, surging with his realm essence. In an instant, he sent out more than 100 million fingers. It was extremely powerful. The god of illusions. Seeing this, Qi Yang also made his move. Dust rose around his body and moved without any wind. Then, an illusion of heaven and earth appeared, causing a large number of Qi Yangs to be born in the square. It was so colorful and dazzling that it was impossible to tell which was real and which was fake. Soul martial arts? This unforeseen event caused Lin Ling's footsteps to suddenly stop, and his eyes flickered. The reason he didn't plan to stay behind was because he knew that one had to suffer some setbacks on the path of martial arts. Therefore, he didn't interrupt the battle between Qi Yang and Gu Mingjun. But now, he discovered that Qi Yang was actually proficient in soul force martial arts, and his soul force was not weak, in the range of 2,000 steps. This illusionary god sect is truly something. Lin Ling was curious. His soul force had always been the strongest. It was a pity that he hadn't found a powerful soul martial art, so it was a bit of a waste. But now, he was looking forward to the martial arts of the illusion god sect. Illusion god sect? Could it be one of the 100 great bloodlines, the bloodline of the illusion god? This was an expert from the era of gods. Qi Yang used a soul martial art again. Alas, he's still so stubborn. That's right. In today's path of martial arts, boundary essence is the foundation. Soul martial arts are nothing. They're the most unique and useless bloodline in the illusion god sect. At this moment, there was a lot of discussion in the surroundings. It could be seen that the illusion god sect had many bloodlines, and soul cultivation was one of them, but it wasn't favored. It's still the same old method. What's the use of it? Gu Mingjun was naturally disdainful, and his 10,000 fingers pierced out. Bang! 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 On the square, the clones all exploded like illusions. Then, a figure spat out blood and crashed to the ground. Chiyu cried out in alarm and ran over. Big brother! Big brother! You broke my soul martial art again. Why is it like this? On the ground, Qi Yang ignored his sister and looked at Gu Mingjun with unwillingness. It's simple. Because I can't see through your soul martial art, I just need to explode it. You're hiding in it, so naturally, you'll be hit by me. Gu Mingjun strode forward proudly. Damn it, if my soul martial art could reach a higher level, I could block your attack, and you wouldn't be able to do anything to me. Hearing this, Qi Yang smashed his fist on the ground, feeling even more unreconciled. Big brother. Chiyu's beautiful eyes were moist. Looking around, everyone's eyes were full of disdain. The three from the Qi family were very stubborn. They refused to cultivate the boundary essence Tao and insisted on cultivating soul martial arts, which led to their decline. In fact, the illusionary god sect had always cultivated soul martial arts. However, a long time ago, they had reached a bottleneck and found it difficult to break through. This caused the entire sect to give up on soul martial arts and follow the masses to cultivate the great Tao of world origin. Until now, only the three from the Qi family had not given up on soul martial arts. 1 year later, you want to surpass me with your strength? Gu Mingjun didn't plan on letting Qi Yang go. He walked up to Qi Yang and raised his foot. Gu Mingjun, you dare. Seeing this, Qiyu shouted. If you agree to my pursuit, we'll be a family from now on. Your elder brother will also be my elder brother. If you're still stubborn, then you'll be my opponent. I never show mercy to my opponents. Gu Mingjun said as he looked at Qiyu. After he finished speaking, he stomped heavily on Qi Yang. You! Qiyu was furious, but seeing that her elder brother was about to suffer, she couldn't help but say, I agree. However, before she finished speaking, a foot suddenly arrived and kicked Gu Mingjun's knee. Bang! A muffled sound rang out instantly. Gu Mingjun felt pain in his knee, and he started to stumble backwards. It's you. The Qi siblings were shocked when they saw who it was. That was because the person who came was Lin Ling. You sneak attacked me? Gu Mingjun's knee was still in pain, but he looked coldly at Lin Ling and said, I suddenly don't want to leave, so I'm going to interfere in your matter. I'll give you a chance to get away from me. Lin Ling narrowed his eyes and said indifferently. You? Gu Mingjun was so angry that he laughed. Looks like you don't understand human language. Then I can only use violence to solve this. Listen carefully, after one move, if you don't fall, Lin Ling will immediately turn around and leave. Lin Ling shook his head and began to walk forward. You'd better be prepared. I'm going to attack. There was no fluctuation of realm energy on his body. He looked very ordinary. This caused the entire square to fall silent. Was this young man an idiot? Did he want to fight against Senior Brother Gu with his physical body? Moreover, he actually reminded Senior Brother Gu. Be careful. However, at this moment, a tall and sturdy middle-aged man arrived, causing the Chi siblings to hurriedly shout, "Father!" The middle-aged man waved his hand and looked at Lin Ling in shock. This youth was saved by his son. In the past 3 months, he had roughly examined him and found that this youth had some soul force, but his strength was somewhat mysterious. He seemed very strong, but when he carefully sensed it, he didn't seem to have any spiritual energy. In the end, because this youth had soul force, he didn't touch the youth's 2 swords. However, he didn't expect this youth to be so strong. Junior Brother Chi, he humiliated my disciple, and you say this has nothing to do with him? The old man clearly wasn't willing to let the matter rest. You're not convinced? Very well, your disciple gave me a chance to apologize, and I'll give you a chance now. Apologize, and I won't pursue your mistake. Of course, if you refuse, then I don't mind stepping on you, the sect master. However, before the middle-aged man could speak, Lin Ling had already opened his mouth. Silence. The surroundings were deathly silent. No one expected Lin Ling to threaten the sect master and even want to step on him. Madman. This is definitely an arrogant madman. Although they were surprised by Lin Ling's strength, they didn't think that Lin Ling was a match for a half-sage. Of course, if they knew about Lin Ling's battle record, they wouldn't dare to think this way. Therefore, Lin Ling's words were spoken in a matter-of-fact tone. You. The old man's beard blew up, his anger soaring to the heavens. He had never seen such an arrogant and rude junior. As for the Qi Yang's father, he smiled wryly. Elder brother, he said, yesterday, he joined our branch. I remember when Master went to the west, he said that our branch was independent, and that we had special privileges. Hearing this, the old man sighed. Forget it, forget it. Forget it. He clearly didn't want to care about this matter anymore. This was because the middle-aged man's faction was the foundation of the Illusion God sect, and the only faction that cultivated soul martial arts. Therefore, the sect master naturally gave them face and secretly admired their stubbornness. Everyone, disperse. The old man waved his hand and said. Of course, before he left, he stared at Lin Ling with resentment, feeling somewhat unhappy. A junior actually dared to be so arrogant. If it wasn't for junior brother, he really wanted to teach him a lesson. For the sake of the Qi siblings, I'll spare you this time. However, Lin Ling's indifferent voice also floated out. Hearing this, the sect master's throat burned. He didn't do anything, but this junior did? I'm so angry. He clenched his teeth and left with large strides. The surrounding disciples were tongue-tied, wondering if this youth's head had been kicked by a donkey. I'm very curious about your faction's soul martial arts. I wonder if Senior can give me some pointers. However, Lin Ling didn't care about the strange gazes around him. Instead, he looked at the middle-aged man and said indifferently. Of course, his tone was much more polite. After all, he had a request. This was also the reason why he decided to stay for the time being. Our faction has already been abandoned. If someone wants to learn, we'll naturally welcome them. We can't wait for someone to carry forward our illusion god soul martial arts and revive our glory. The middle-aged man said with a smile. Originally, with his seniority, he should have raised his head and spoken to Lin Ling. However, he found that this youth's gaze was neither arrogant nor humble. This kind of calmness wasn't faked. In addition, this youth dared to look down on the sect master and act lawless. Therefore, he subconsciously didn't bother to put on airs. Alright, I'll carry forward this inheritance for you. It won't be long before the spirit province knows of the illusion god Sek's great name. Hearing this, Lin Ling nodded and said seriously. This guy really doesn't even blink when he brags. Yes. Yes, he's even better at talking than singing. Hearing Lin Ling's words, the Qi siblings' eyes twitched as they spoke one after another. Even the middle-aged man was the same. If the illusion god Sek's martial arts were so easy to become famous in the spirit province, they would have already succeeded. How could it be as simple as Lin Ling said? All right, I believe you. However, it's better for young people to be down to earth. The middle-aged man smiled and said meaningfully, as if he was telling Lin Ling to stop bragging. Seeing this, Lin Ling let out a long sigh. He really wasn't bragging. With his status as a constellation cloud disciple, if he used a soul martial art on the battlefield, it would definitely shake the entire spirit province. Chapter 3076. Illusionary God True Inheritance. Oh right, how did you defeat Gu Mingjun? You don't seem to have any world energy. The middle-aged man asked curiously. Lin Ling smiled. The middle-aged man was only a late martial immortal. Naturally, he couldn't see through Lin Ling. If Lin Ling wanted to hide his cultivation, no one would be able to see through him unless they were a late half-sage or a sage. He had 4 dantians and he could use them at will. He could even hide his 4 dantians. Physical strength. Lin Ling explained. How is that possible? Physical strength is an unorthodox path. How can it defeat world energy? Hearing that, the 3 Qi family members were shocked. There are many ways in the universe. What is impossible? Also, don't forget that soul martial arts are also looked down upon in the illusionary god sect. However, do you also think that soul martial arts are an unorthodox path? Lin Ling said indifferently. His tone was calm. However, at that moment, he had the demeanor of an expert. It was as if he was a saint who was giving guidance to these mortals. However, his words stunned the 3 of them. Thinking about it carefully, that was indeed the case. Physical strength was not valued by the current martial artists. However, wasn't it the same for soul martial arts? Therefore, if they doubted Lin Ling's physical strength, wouldn't they be doubting their own soul martial arts? Thank you for your advice. The middle-aged man quickly cupped his hands and said. His attitude shocked the Qi family siblings. Only Lin Ling could be treated so politely by their father. It's fine. If there's a chance, I'll do my best to teach you. However, Lin Ling's voice also sounded. The Qi family siblings were dumbfounded. This guy was really shameless. Haha. The middle-aged man didn't expect Lin Ling to be so shameless. He couldn't help but laugh. I'm Qi Shi. May I know your name? Just call me Junior Brother Lin. After all, I'm the last to join this faction. Lin Ling said casually. Junior Brother Lin. The middle-aged man smiled and nodded. That night, Lin Ling stayed in the illusionary god sect. Qi Shi was also very generous. He directly gave Lin Ling 3 sets of soul martial arts. Furthermore, they were all foundational martial arts. Of course, Lin Ling also knew the reason. It was because of the decline of soul martial arts that Qi Shi was so generous. If soul martial arts dominated the spirit province, no one would be willing to hand over their soul martial arts so easily. As for soul martial arts, Leslie learned a lot, but they were mostly world spirit formation Dao. As for Lin Ling, he had cultivated a few of them before, but they were only effective in the 10,000 realms. In the 9 prefectures, their power was suppressed several times. Therefore, Lin Ling was extremely curious about the illusory god sect's soul martial arts. After all, this was a treasure left behind by the gods' era. Of course Lin Lin's, swords, Whis. To Lin Sei, to Li Lin to Art Li to Immortal Li to. And God. Sword light blossomed from the sword, as if it had heard Lin Ling's words. It was extremely excited. There were 18 swords. Only by gathering all of them could the divine sword unleash its full power. However, the rest of the swords were probably with martial god Qilin. Thus, Lin Ling couldn't do anything about it. Thinking about the scabbard, Lin Ling smiled bitterly. Right now, he had a lot of swords to collect. Lin Ling then took out a voice transmission talisman to contact Yu Yu and the rest. Brother Ling, where are you? Yu Yu, I'm fine. I'm in the spirit province. That's good. Where are you? Senior Xing Xiyun has been looking for you. He doesn't need to come over for now. I'll return in about 3 months. Considering the size of the tantric sect, Lin Ling didn't know what kind of impact it would bring if Xing Xiuyun came. Therefore, before he obtained the illusion god sect's soul martial arts, he didn't plan on doing anything shocking. 7 Saints Illusionary God Technique. Lin Ling then took out the soul martial arts that Qi Shi had given him and began to comprehend it. As he comprehended it, a smile appeared on his face. The soul martial arts that the illusionary god had left behind were indeed extraordinary. Even though it was just the basics, it was still very beneficial. Time passed by quietly. On this day, Lin Ling returned the martial arts to Qi Shi. Qi Shi was surprised. Junior brother Lin, you've succeeded in cultivating it? It's been a month. If I hadn't succeeded in cultivating it, then I wouldn't be qualified to cultivate this soul martial arts. Lin Ling shook his head. He felt that he had wasted a lot of time. Hearing this, Qi Shi was stunned. In the past, his master had taught him the foundational martial arts for a year. As for the Qi siblings, their eyes were red with envy. This was because one of them had taken 3 years, while the other had taken 5 years. What's wrong? Have you been cultivating it for too long? Senior brother Qi, if there's anything you can teach me, you can teach me. You don't have to give me any face. I've always known that. Lin Ling said solemnly when he saw the changes in their expressions. Although the 3 of them were not as strong as him, they were more familiar with other areas than him. Therefore, Lin Ling could humbly ask for advice. Hearing this, the 3 of them looked at each other, and their bitter smiles deepened. No, not at all. You can finish your apprenticeship now. You've cultivated the illusionary god's true inheritance. The father and son continued to talk. Qi Yu's eyes were red. She was on the verge of crying as she said, "How can you cultivate so fast? I used 5 years back then. It's so unfair. You can even be my master." Lin Ling was speechless when he saw this. By the way, all the sects in the south of the spirit state will gather and head to the 10 major sects for a martial arts exchange. We have to set off immediately. Oh, which sect is holding the martial arts exchange? I heard that the masterminds are the Fairy sect and the Divine Crane sect. Lin Ling's eyes flickered. The Fairy sect? The 10 major sects of Tantric Buddhism? He could not help but think of Longnyang in the past and laughed bitterly. He hoped that he would not meet any acquaintances who would interrupt his enlightenment of the soul martial arts technique. However, to avoid trouble, he had better find an excuse to decline. I'll teach you the illusion god true inheritance when we come back. However, just as Lin Ling was about to decline, Qi Shi spoke up as well. This time, Lin Ling could not refuse. 2 hours later, the illusion god sex people flew forward on the giant white-feathered ancient goose. Everyone on the white goose was in high spirits. I heard that the top beauty of the fairy sect will also come to this martial arts exchange. Is it Longnyang? I hope to see her this time, even from afar. Of course, fate is the most difficult thing to determine. Maybe she'll fall for me. You? Even looking at her is blasphemy to Longnyang. She's a genius of the Tantric Buddhism. Who do you think you are? You can't even enter the 10 major sects, let alone be chosen by Longnyang. None of your business. I know you're jealous of me. Chapter 3077. all the sects in the south of the spirit province gathered. I also heard that Longnyang almost got together with a genius from the tantric sect, but that genius rejected Longnyang. TSK, what a big deal. Wow. That guy is really daring. A genius like Longnyang would die from happiness if she looked at me, but that guy actually dared to reject her. That's nothing. He's the disciple of the 4 heavenly kings of the tantric sect, so he has the right to do so. Moreover, he defeated all the geniuses from the 10 great sects during the last tantric sect ceremony, so he has the right to do so. Wow. You're saying that he's amazing. Could it be that you were there? Wow. I don't have the right to go to the tantric sect. I only heard about it, and I know that his name is Lin Ling. He's one of the geniuses I admire the most. Wow. On the other side, another disciple changed the topic and talked about the tantric sect. When this was mentioned, the geniuses became even more excited. To them, geniuses of the same age were the ones they paid attention to the most. The disciple of the 4 heavenly kings, Lin Ling. I heard that he's very strong and is one of the most talented geniuses in the tantric sect. Wow. I really hope to see him. Wow. Even the Chi siblings were looking forward to seeing him. Sister, stop daydreaming. How can you see a genius of that level? Even if you see a genius from the 10 great sects, that's your fortune, not to mention a genius from the tantric sect. Qi Yang saw his sister's eyes shining and could not help but persuade her. I know. Sigh. Qi Yu sighed. As for Lin Ling, he was still comprehending the soul martial arts, but he also opened his eyes and looked at Qi Yu strangely. In the end, he shook his head and continued to cultivate. In the distance, a few gazes were staring at Lin Ling with ill intentions. One of them was Gu Mingjun. Is that the guy who injured you? He has no energy fluctuations and cultivates a soul martial arts. He's simply too weak. Sigh. Senior martial brother, I was careless at that time. However, let bygones be bygones. My current goal is the 10 great sects, so I don't care about those ordinary people. They don't understand the heart of a mighty eagle. Junior apprentice brother Gu is right. He cultivates soul martial arts and can only be like this for the rest of his life. He's just a piece of trash. There's no need to care about him. The others nodded in agreement. In fact, it was because of the sect leader that they did not dare to attack Lin Ling. They were not as magnanimous as they said. However, I happen to know some geniuses in the martial arts exchange held by the 10 great sections. At that time, I can let him know how lowly he is. No way, you know the geniuses of the 10 great sects? Of course, you'll know how powerful I am in a moment. When he mentioned the geniuses of the 10 great sects, Gu Mingjun's voice became much louder. At this moment, all the youths on the giant white goose cast envious gazes at Gu Mingjun. Gu Mingjun will enter the top 10 sects sooner or later, so it's not strange that he knows the geniuses there. Sai, when we first entered the illusionary god sect, we promised to explore the spirit province together. Today, he's flying high, but I'm still stuck on the streets. Don't be envious. Right now, it's better to curry favor with senior martial brother Gu. The youths began to whisper. Although their voices were not loud, Gu Mingjun could hear them clearly. This made him smile faintly and stare at Lin Ling. He wanted to see Lin Ling's strange expression. However, Lin Ling did not seem to hear them and continued to meditate like an old monk. On the other hand, the Qi siblings revealed envious expressions. This made Gu Mingjun smile with a hint of pride. Not far from him, a good-looking girl looked at Gu Mingjun with a hint of passion. Then, her gaze fell on Qi Yang, and she let out a long sigh. Her name was Imengrua, and she was the daughter of the illusionary god sect leader. Originally, she and Qi Yang were childhood sweethearts, and their relationship was very good. However, Qi Yang gradually declined over the years. In addition, her father reminded her that Gu Mingjun was more suitable for him. At first, she did not care and believed that Qi Yang could rise up. But now, she began to doubt her own beliefs. The loud and clear cry of a wild goose floated in the sky and finally landed on the plains. Upon closer inspection, a large number of people had already gathered on the plains. Many banners were raised high. They were actually the other sects of the Spirit Province. Today, 2 of the 10 great sects were having a martial arts exchange. There were many people who gave them face. Many people wished that they had the qualifications to come. Unfortunately, not every sect and every disciple had the qualifications to come. Line up and do not make a racket. Enter the Cold Moon Divine Palace. If anyone breaks the rules, not only will they be removed from their sect, they will also be kicked out. A crystal-like palace sat on the ground. In front of the gate, several youths spoke indifferently. Upon closer inspection, these people's strength were all in the martial immortal realm. This caused the disciples of the various sects to be in awe. They did not dare to speak and obediently lined up. Although these people were extremely arrogant, they were the genius disciples of the 10 great sects, so they had the qualifications. Senior Brother Lu, it's me. The illusionary god sect was also lining up. Gu Mingjun suddenly shouted in a low voice. His voice was not loud, but it instantly attracted countless gazes. This caused many people to frown. Was this person looking to die? They already said not to make a racket, but he actually shouted. Oh, it's you, Gu Mingjun. However, among the geniuses guarding the gate, one of them smiled faintly and did not blame Gu Mingjun. It's me, it's me. Yes. Gu Mingjun's body immediately trembled and he was incomparably proud. The geniuses nodded and did not speak any more nonsense. Even so, Gu Mingjun's actions still caused the disciples of the various sects to be extremely envious. Gu Mingjun has not entered the 10 great sects, but he already has a bit of fame. This person is very powerful. The scene in front of him immediately made Qi Yang frown. Previously, when someone was lining up, he was absent-minded and then I saw him being kicked out. He even almost implicated his own sect. It's good that Gu Mingjun knows the geniuses of the 10 great sects. It's much more convenient for him to do anything. Qi Yu said with a light sigh. Her words were filled with envy. I heard Father say that Gu Mingjun has been chosen by the 10 great sects and has temporarily become a nominal disciple. So those geniuses give him face and even want to treat him as a friend. At this time, a cold voice came from the side. It was Yi Mengrua. Hearing this, the Qi siblings sighed, especially Qi Yang. Although he looked calm on the surface, his fists were secretly clenched in his sleeves. Not long after, it was finally the illusionary god sect's turn to enter the palace. Greetings, sirs. The sect master smiled at the geniuses. However, the geniuses also gave him some face and warned him a few times. Although it was only a few words and their attitudes were arrogant, it still made the sect master happy. This was because the other party had at least spoken to him. As for disciples, they were too lazy to even speak. Gu Mingjun, after you enter, if you have time, come and talk to me. Chapter 3078. Yun Shangxing among the crowd, Gu Mingjun nodded excitedly. Of course, of course. TSK, Senior Brother Gu is the second person other than the sect master to make these geniuses speak. Hee, I saw that the other sects didn't receive such treatment, but our illusionary god sect did. We've gained a lot of face. That's right. Look at the people behind and in front of the line. They're all envious. The illusionary god sect disciples' faces were filled with pride as they entered the palace. What are you doing? Junior Brother Lin, hurry up and greet him. But not long after, an exclamation rang out, causing the expressions of the illusion god sect members to change. Only now did they realize that it was Junior Brother Lin's turn to enter the group. However, Junior Brother Lin's eyes were half closed. He didn't bow, nor did he look at the geniuses. He seemed to be comprehending something. Of course, it didn't matter where he cultivated, but not here. At this moment, the illusionary god sect disciples became nervous. Junior brother Chi, why don't you think highly of him? The sect master secretly complained. If they angered these geniuses, their sect would be kicked out. That would be a huge loss of face. This junior brother Lin is really incapable of accomplishing anything but good at spoiling things. Among the crowd, Gu Mingjun also complained. After he spoke, he looked at the geniuses, only to see that their faces were extremely cold. It seemed that even if Gu Mingjun stepped forward, it would be difficult to quell the anger of these geniuses. Who interrupted me? At this moment, Lin Ling finally opened his eyes, and a slightly unhappy voice rang out. Damn it, this guy is still speaking with such an attitude. It's over. The illusionary god sect disciples helplessly slapped their foreheads. They knew that a disaster was coming. You. Gu Mingjun pointed at Lin Ling. He didn't know what to say. Perhaps the next thing he could do was to witness the entire sect being kicked out. Your illusionary god sect. Sure enough, the geniuses coldly said. They were sentencing the illusionary god sect to death. What about our illusionary god sect? However, before they could finish speaking, Lin Ling's gaze turned cold as he stared at the geniuses without any fear. This gaze caused the hearts of those geniuses to tremble subconsciously. Plus, this was the first time they were looking at Lin Ling. The more they looked, the more their hearts roared. Go in. Finally, one of the geniuses spoke with a hint of reverence. Silence. The entire entrance of the palace fell into a deathly silence. These arrogant geniuses actually didn't punish junior brother Lin? Could it be that these arrogant geniuses had a conscience and didn't intend to teach the ants in front of them a lesson? It's better not to cultivate in a place like this. If you're interrupted, it's easy to go berserk. While the crowd was still in shock, another genius spoke up. Moreover, his words carried a kind reminder. This time, everyone looked at each other in dismay. Thank you. Only Lin Ling was the calmest as he leisurely entered the palace. Good heavens! Are my eyes deceiving me? The jaws of the illusion god sect's disciples dropped to the ground as they entered the palace in confusion. Even Gu Mingjun was the same. Senior brother Gu, what's going on? Not only did these geniuses not blame junior brother Lin, they even spoke to him. And they even spoke a few sentences. Yes. This treatment is even better than the sect masters. How would I know? But geniuses are all unique in their actions. It's not something we can guess. I can only say that junior brother Lin's luck is pretty good. When Gu Mingjun heard their words, he said in annoyance. Senior brother Gu, you're not angry, are you? The people beside him seemed to have noticed something and hurriedly smiled. Huh, why would I be angry at junior brother Lin? Have you ever seen someone angry at a toad at the bottom of a well? Hearing this, Gu Mingjun immediately laughed, causing his junior brothers to laugh as well. This was true. Compared to Gu Mingjun, junior brother Lin was a pile of shit on the ground, while Gu Mingjun was the white clouds in the sky. There was simply no comparison. After the people from the illusionary god sect entered the palace, the geniuses outside looked at each other. In fact, they didn't know why they allowed Lin Ling to enter. But they felt that the look in Lin Ling's eyes was really terrifying. It was as if he was looking at a group of ants. This person isn't simple. Yeah, although he's not from the 10 great sects, I have a feeling that he's even stronger than us. Moreover, I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. This person seems to be a big shot. The geniuses whispered among themselves, but they couldn't recall where they had seen Lin Ling before. As for those who entered the palace, they were like country bumpkins entering a big city. They were excited and in awe. Wow, is this a boundary array? TSK, what dense spiritual energy. Look, that's the hidden purple rainbow tree. I heard that it's of great help to wood, earth, and water geniuses. It can raise the ultimate martial Tao and comprehend the power of a rank. The 10 great sects are indeed wealthy. Let's go, there's someone giving out earth ring pills in the plaza ahead. All disciples who enter the palace are eligible to receive them. The crowd continued to move forward and soon gathered in a plaza. It was extremely crowded and lively. The sects have already arranged their accommodations. Tomorrow, the martial arts exchange will begin. Suddenly, a genius spoke softly. The voice entered everyone's ears and silenced the plaza. Then, the sects received their accommodations. What? We're next to the stables. The sect leader of the illusionary god sect looked at the map in his hand with a helpless expression. It can't be, right? This palace has many enchantments, and there are some good residences. Cultivating there will be twice the result with half the effort. In fact, I'll be frank with you. I'm participating in this martial arts exchange for a good place to cultivate. Now, you're assigning us to the stables? This is ridiculous. The elders of the illusionary god sect were in disbelief. This is the stables of Pegasi, spiritual beasts. They're not ordinary horses, so please bear with it. The sect leader smiled bitterly again. Hearing this, the elders were dissatisfied, but there was nothing they could do. They could only smile bitterly. Sect leader, the genius giving out accommodations is called Yun Shangqing. I know him. But at this moment, a calm voice suddenly sounded. It was Gu Mingjun. Yun Shangqing? Could it be that Yun Shangqing who lost to the number 1 sect of the 10 great sects during the Tantric sect's great ceremony? The sect leader exclaimed. Chapter 3079. Shameless. Gu Mingjun nodded his head. Most importantly, he's a disciple of the Tianqing sect, one of the 10 great sects. However, I've met him a few times. If I ask him, he might give me some face. Gu Mingjun, we'll leave it to you. Hearing this, the sect leader and the elders were delighted. I'll do my best. Hearing this, Gu Mingjun nodded his head and walked out. He was neither arrogant nor humble, but rather imposing. Gu Mingjun represents the future of our illusionary god sect. Seeing this, the illusionary god sect's disciples admired Gu Mingjun even more. Even the sect leader was the same. TSK, our illusionary god sect has Gu Mingjun. It's our fortune. The illusionary god sect's disciples were proud. Only the 3 sons of the Qi family were gloomy. Especially Qi Yang. He had been Gu Mingjun's competitor since young, but now, he had been eliminated. It won't be long before I catch up to him. However, Qi Yang wouldn't admit defeat so easily. He secretly clenched his fist and said, "Sai, you've said this many times. Sometimes, the path of martial arts doesn't depend on one's mouth." Beside him, Imengrua, Qi Yang's childhood sweetheart, sighed. Her words made Qi Yang extremely embarrassed. At this moment, Lin Ling was no longer cultivating. He looked at the scene and shook his head. He could see that Qi Yang liked Imengrua a lot, but Imengrua seemed to have a change of heart. "Senior brother Yun, it's me." At this moment, Gu Mingjun had already walked forward. The youth glanced at him and nodded his head. "What's wrong? Is there something important?" Although his attitude was still arrogant, he at least gave Gu Mingjun face. He knew that Gu Mingjun would definitely enter one of the 10 great sects. "It's like this." Gu Mingjun immediately requested. "So it's such a small matter. How about this, I'll help your sect rearrange your residence. This palace has 5 different levels of barriers. You're not qualified to go to the first level. Only the 10 great sects can go there. I'll arrange for you to stay in the second level. How about it?" Yun Shangqing smiled. Okay. Although it was second class, it showed that the other party had given him enough face, so Gu Mingjun hurriedly nodded. Without any suspense, the people of the illusionary god sect became excited. The people from the other sects were extremely envious. Gu Mingjun, have you decided which sect you want to join? Your future is bound to be extraordinary, so have you considered joining our sect? Yin Shangqing said again, causing Gu Mingjun to hurriedly bow. No, no, in front of senior martial brother Yun, junior martial brother will forever be the light of a firefly. You really know how to talk. However, I am optimistic about your future. Tonight, I will be the host for a banquet. All of your sects can come. Moreover, all the other sects can participate. Yin Shangqing smiled, waved his hand, and left. Thank you, senior brother Yun. Gu Mingjun immediately bowed. Everyone sighed as they looked at Yin Shangqing. The envy in their eyes grew stronger. Being able to become a disciple of one of the 10 great sects was already so glorious. When would they be able to become a carp that leaped over the dragon's gate and become such a figure? Of course, while they were envious, they also looked at Gu Mingjun. They knew that this child's future would be just as glorious. As for Gu Mingjun, he walked back to the illusionary god's sect and received a lot of praises. He smiled and walked to Qi Shi. Elder Qi, the second-class barrier accommodation is full. Therefore, I will have to trouble your branch to stay in the stables. How about it? Hearing this, the 3 from the Qi family narrowed their eyes. However, they were helpless. After all, the second-class barrier accommodation was obtained by Gu Mingjun. They had no right to speak. No problem. Qi Shi nodded. That's good. Gu Mingjun wasn't surprised by the attitude of the 3 from the Qi family. He looked at one of the girls and said, Junior Martial Sister Yi, you are the daughter of the sect master. However, you were betrothed to Qi Shi when you were young. Are you going to follow them or us? Me. Yi Mengrua hesitated for a moment. Finally, she shook her head and smiled. I will follow Elder Qi. Then do as you wish. Oh right, senior martial brother Yun invited us tonight. Everyone must attend. Gu Mingjun nodded and turned to leave. Of course, before he left, he glanced at Qi Yu. It was as if he was telling Qi Yu how powerful he was. Qi Yu clenched her teeth. Although she knew of Gu Mingjun's power, she was stubborn and refused to compromise. She would never accept Gu Mingjun's pursuit. As for Lin Ling, Gu Mingjun didn't even look at him from the beginning to the end. In his opinion, Lin Ling wasn't on the same level as him at all. In fact, junior brother Lin's face was filled with worship at this moment. Unfortunately, he didn't see it. Lin Ling didn't even look at him. When will this trash martial arts exchange end? Lin Ling's gaze was already looking elsewhere. Qi Shi would only give him the illusionary god true inheritance after the exchange ended. A moment later, everyone arrived at their accommodation. The neighing of horses could be heard from time to time. Occasionally, there would be horse feces floating out. Although there was a barrier here that allowed cultivation to be more efficient, the scenery wasn't very good. I will go tidy up the surroundings. Qi Yang was very embarrassed and hurriedly got busy. Qi Shi and Qi Yu were also the same. Only Lin Ling didn't care. Yi Mengrua stood there with a face full of displeasure. Sigh, the previous Qi Yang gave people the feeling that he had a lot of potential. Unfortunately, the current Qi Yang can't be compared to Gu Mingjun. My eyesight is too bad. Why did I find such a man? Most importantly, Gu Mingjun obviously likes Qi Yu. Otherwise, I would have already thrown myself at him. She kept sighing. If only my boyfriend was Gu Mingjun or even Yin Shangqing. Of course, if Lin Ling took a fancy to me, that would be my greatest blessing. She talked to herself and completely ignored Lin Ling. It was as if Lin Ling was just a passerby. Even if she spoke her mind, she wasn't afraid of him knowing. With your appearance, unless Lin Ling is blind, he won't take a fancy to you. Lin Ling was a little impressed by this woman's thick skin. He shook his head and then went to help Qi Yang and the others. His words stunned Yi Mengrua. In her impression, this junior brother Lin was always a man of few words and didn't care about anything. But this time, he actually mocked her. Who do you think you are? Compared to ancient Ming Jun, compared to Yun Shangqing? Compared to Lin Ling? You are just a hair on their heads. Yi Mengrua cursed secretly. Of course, she didn't dare to curse out loud. She still had to maintain her ladylike appearance. However, she was even more disdainful of Lin Ling. A person who couldn't even compare to Qi Yang was simply a pile of trash. No, he was even worse than trash. After tidying up the surroundings, everyone settled down temporarily. Lin Ling cultivated as usual, striving to obtain the illusion god true inheritance as soon as possible and return to Tantric Buddhism. Chapter 3080. Looking for senior brother Lin. Lin Ling was also dragged away. He lazily followed behind and continued to cultivate. This caused the Qi siblings' hearts to sink. No wonder Lin Ling's comprehension of soul martial arts was so fast. It turned out that he had been cultivating all the time. Such diligence, how could they not admire him? Following the direction pointed out, they finally arrived at their destination. It was a luxurious hall. The spirit energy was dense, and hundreds of flowers bloomed. Before they even got close, flattering voices rang out. Little friend Yun, you're young and promising. Look. Look at me, the future of the spirit state is also on your shoulders. The vast hall was packed with people. All the sects of the spirit province were gathered, and they were all looking at the spirited young man at the head of the table. Huh, you're exaggerating. In the Tantric sect, I'm not the strongest. If we're talking about a peerless genius, then it's still Lord Xingxiu Yun's disciple, Lin Ling. At the head of the table, Yun Shangqing had the aura of a superior as he spoke indifferently. I've never heard of the name Lin Ling. Why don't little friend Yun tell us what's so great about Lin Ling? After 3 rounds of wine and 5 dishes, someone curiously asked. Yun Shangqing drank a mouthful of wine, and his arrogant expression quietly disappeared, turning into worship. This senior brother Lin came from the Qing province. Originally, the geniuses of the 10 great sects looked down on him, but who knew that in the Tantric sect's great ceremony, he defeated senior brother Beihan in one move. As for senior brother Beihan's strength, there's no need for me to say more. 60% of the sect leaders here aren't his match. Moreover, senior brother Lin is a powerful spirit formation master. I heard that he broke the universal spirit formation with an ancient tree in the Tantric sect, creating a record. Of course, the most amazing part is the latter part. Yun Shangqing's voice became louder and louder, causing the hall to become silent. So powerful. Even the geniuses of the 10 great sects aren't senior brother Lin's match. The members of the Illusion God sect were whispering to each other. Yi Mengrua had been sitting there for a long time. Her beautiful eyes flickered as she looked forward to meeting the legendary senior brother Lin. However, she suddenly froze. Senior brother Lin of the Tantric sect? Then her junior brother Lin of the Fantasy God sect? One called him senior brother, and the other called him junior brother. Could they be the same person? Thinking of this, she couldn't help but laugh at herself. One was an eagle flying in the sky, the other was a toad on the ground. They weren't on the same level at all. Senior martial brother Yun, quickly tell me what's the most powerful thing about you. At this moment, Gu Mingjun asked anxiously. Everyone knows that he rejected Longnyang of the fairy sect, but there's one more thing you don't know. When he was in the fairy sect, he defeated senior brother Cho Junlang, who was a genius of the Tantric sect. I don't think I need to explain how powerful he is. Yun Shangqing enunciated each word clearly. He was even getting a little excited. Tantric geniuses? The hall was in an uproar. In the spirit province, geniuses were divided into different levels. At first, they were the geniuses of the various sects, then the geniuses of the 10 great sects, and finally the geniuses of the Tantric sect. Such geniuses could probably defeat the sect masters of the various sects. I wonder what Senior Brother Chao's cultivation is. Gu Mingjun said nervously. It was obvious that he was also shocked. Second Heaven Half-Saint. Yun Shangqing swept his gaze across the crowd and said in shock. His words were like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. A martial immortal defeating a half-saint. His ability to fight above his level was too terrifying. No wonder Senior Brother Lin could become the disciple of the 4 heavenly kings. His brilliance and mystery lingered in everyone's hearts like a god. Senior Brother Lin is someone we all look up to. Let me tell you something. If you know Senior Brother Lin, you can do whatever you want in the Spirit Province. Also, if anyone dares to provoke Senior Brother Lin, the entire Tantric sect will be mobilized. Unless you're a major force in the 9 provinces, you'll be eradicated. In fact, if anyone in the Divine Prefecture below the Spirit Province dares to provoke Senior Brother Lin, there will only be one outcome, death. After Yun Shangqing finished talking about Lin Ling's strength, he then talked about Lin Ling's identity. Chi. Everyone's hearts continued to jump. This was a person who could shake the entire Spirit Province with just a move of his foot. After saying so much, I actually invited you here today because I have an important matter to ask of you. I know you all want to meet this legendary person, but I can tell you that this person has temporarily disappeared. Thus, the Tantric sect instructed us to find Senior Brother Lin in the Spirit Province. Yun Shangqing looked at the crowd and spoke of the purpose of today's gathering. That's right, the reason he gathered all the sects here today was to find Senior Brother Lin. But Senior Brother Yun, what does that mysterious Senior Brother Lin look like? Someone said expectantly. He also knew that if he could find Senior Brother Lin, it would definitely be a great achievement. I've neglected that. You all are not qualified to meet Senior Brother Lin, so it's normal that you don't know him. Fortunately, I was fated to attend the Tantric sect ceremony last time and remembered his appearance. Today, I can use my boundary essence to engrave him. Yun Shangqing stood up, and his boundary essence spread out. Seeing this, everyone in the hall immediately became nervous. They wondered what the legendary Senior Brother Lin looked like. This is Lin. Yun Shangqing could see that everyone was nervous. He waved his hand and was about to draw a portrait. However, at this moment, a few figures walked in from the door. One of them stunned him. Lin. He couldn't say the last 2 words, Senior Brother, no matter what. He could only stare at the blue-robed young man who walked in. Everyone in the hall was furious that they had been interrupted at such a crucial moment. This made them stare at Lin Ling and the others. However, since Senior Brother Yun didn't flare up, they didn't dare to reprimand Lin Ling and the others. Instead, they used their gazes to urge Lin Ling and the others to hurry up and take their seats. Wow, we seem to be late. Hurry up and go to the illusionary sect. The 3 from the Qi family quickened their pace and smiled awkwardly. They even cupped their fists and bowed. Only Lin Ling had his hands behind his back and a lazy look on his face. This made everyone's eyes spit fire. If not for Senior Brother Yun's magnanimity, he would have already taught this unknown trash a lesson. In fact, Yun Shangqing stared at Lin Ling so hard that his eyes almost popped out. He was sizing up Lin Ling, afraid that he had seen wrongly. In the end, he confirmed that this was the terrifying genius of the Tantric sect, Lin Ling. Senior Brother, we're late. At this moment, Qi Shi apologized to the sect leader of the illusionary sect. The sect leader smiled bitterly and said helplessly, "It's good that you're here. Hurry up and sit down." Qi Shi and the other 2 smiled apologetically again. Seeing that the situation was too awkward, they asked, "What were you talking about?" "We were talking about an important figure in the Tantric sect, Senior Brother Lin. This person's strength is extraordinary and his talent is outstanding. With just a move of his leg, ordinary people like us have to retreat." The sect leader said. "He's that powerful? Could he be an ancient senior?" Chapter 3081. Beating. Hee, He's about the same age as you. The sect leader laughed. Does the tantric sect have such a powerful senior brother Lin? Even Lin Ling frowned. He was curious about this senior brother Lin. He didn't know that this senior brother Lin was him, Lin Ling. Humph, you call him junior brother Lin, right? He's called senior brother Lin by all the geniuses of the tantric sect. Although there's only one word difference between the two of you, the difference is like heaven and earth. At this moment, a crafty and harsh voice resounded. It was Yi Mengrua. She was drinking wine, and her beautiful eyes were looking at Lin Ling as if she was looking at a toad. Moreover, Gu Mingjun also said with disdain, with your knowledge, how could you know senior brother Lin's power? Disregarding everything else, if he came to the south of the spirit province, no one in the large sects would be his opponent, not even the sect leader. From another perspective, half the sky of the spirit province would move if he moved his feet. He's a true god. And you? You're just a sleepy person who doesn't know what power is. Hearing this, the others looked at them with disdain. Lin Ling and the others were already late and embarrassed the fantasy god sect. Therefore, no one was polite to them. Junior brother Lin, don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. You should learn from Gu Mingjun. He knows the big picture. In a place like the tantric sect, he's also respected by the strong. The sect leader, who had long been displeased with Lin Ling, spoke up as well. This made the three from the Qi family even more embarrassed. However, they were also angry. They just didn't dare to express it because they were late. Learn from me? He has no hope in his life. I'm respected by the tantric sect, but he can only stay in the stable. We're not even on the same level. Gu Mingjun wasn't modest. With his status and strength, he didn't need to be modest in front of Lin Ling. However, at this moment, a strong wind blew. Slap. A crisp slap landed on Gu Mingjun's face. In front of the seat, a furious figure stood there. His robe fluttered in the wind, and his eyes were ready to devour anyone. It was Yun Shangqing. This caused everyone to be stunned and even a little panicked. Most importantly, they had just finished talking about how Gu Mingjun was valued by the big shot while Lin Ling could only live in the stable. However, in the next moment, the big shot gave Gu Mingjun a slap in the face. This gap was too shocking. Fuck you, your mouth stinks. Did you eat dog shit? Yin Shangqing glared furiously at Gu Mingjun and slapped him again. Pa! The crisp sound of the slap stunned Gu Mingjun. He asked nervously, Senior brother Yun, what's going on? What's wrong? Your mouth stinks. I'm going to wake you up. Hurry up and apologize to senior brother Lin, no, junior brother Lin. Yin Shangqing raised his hand and pretended to hit. As he spoke, he glanced at Lin Ling and realized that Lin Ling was calm. This made him tremble with fear. Lin Ling's identity and strength were like an eagle in the sky to him, and he was like a toad on the ground. In other words, if he angered senior brother Lin today and senior brother Lin killed him, his sect wouldn't even dare to fart. Even his father, the sect leader, might come out and say, good job. Such a big shot wasn't someone he could provoke. Junior brother Lin, he doesn't know how to speak properly. I apologize on his behalf. Seeing that Gu Mingjun was still in a daze, Yun Shangqing didn't dare to slight him. He took the lead and bowed to Lin Ling. Lin Ling revealed a strange smile. He didn't know Yun Shangqing, but he guessed that the other party knew his identity. Therefore, he nodded and didn't want to say anything more. Although he could announce his identity and make the people around him fear and respect him, he didn't need to explain anything to a group of ants. Or rather, he didn't like arguing with a toad. Seeing Lin Ling nod, Yun Shangqing felt as if a huge rock had been lifted off his chest. He knew that Lin Ling didn't care about this matter anymore. Then, he realized that his back was already soaked in sweat. However, his gaze quickly landed on Gu Mingjun and he kicked him. Get the fuck out of here. Bang. Crackle, crackle. In front of the various sects, Gu Mingjun was brutally beaten up. Moreover, Yun Shangqing was afraid that Lin Ling would vent his anger on him, so he beat him up extremely ruthlessly. Isn't Gu Mingjun going to enter the 10 great sects? Bang! I thought that he was highly respected by the big shots, but now it seems that his treatment is even worse than ours. Bang! Everyone in the hall was confused at this moment. Only Qi Shi and the sect leader of the illusionary gods sect frowned as they looked at Lin Ling. Lin Ling shook his head and strode out of the hall. As he left, other than a few people, no one paid any attention to Lin Ling. Everyone's gaze was still locked on Gu Mingjun, not understanding what was going on. On the other hand, Yun Shangqing glanced around and seemed to have guessed something. He shouted angrily at the crowd, "Lower your heads and eat. I'll beat whoever doesn't eat to death." After he finished speaking, he strode out as well. "Little friend Yun, what does senior brother Lin look like?" An elder from a sect asked anxiously. "How can ants like you know what senior brother Lin looks like? Let me tell you, the peak of the spirit state will belong to senior brother Lin in the future." Yun Shangqing snorted coldly and disappeared from the hall. The hall instantly fell into a dead silence. Everyone looked at each other, not knowing what was going on. Moreover, when they saw Gu Mingjun's bruised and swollen face, they sympathized with him. Why was this guy suddenly beaten up for nothing? Did he say something wrong? Why did you beat me? At this moment, Gu Mingjun crawled up, his heart filled with anger and frustration. Especially the strange gazes around him, he wanted to dig a hole and hide in it. Of course, he was still confused as to why Yun Shangqing suddenly scolded him. Could it be? He suddenly thought of Lin Ling previously. When he was mocking Lin Ling, Yun Shangqing appeared and beat him up without saying a word. This meant that Yun Shangqing was definitely related to junior brother Lin. Junior brother Lin. Thinking of this, Gu Mingjun roared in his heart. He thought to himself, "I won't let this matter rest. Don't think that you can ride on my head just because you have senior brother Yun's protection. I'll make you understand that I know more people than you in the top 10 sects." Among the crowd, other than Qi Shi, Mengruo's beautiful eyes flickered. Could it be that junior brother Lin is hiding some secret? Otherwise, senior brother Yun wouldn't have followed him so closely after he left. At this moment, in a green bamboo forest outside the hall, a slender figure was walking slowly. He plucked a bamboo leaf and placed it in his mouth, savoring the faint taste of the leaf. Why didn't I tell you my background before? Then, that person muttered to himself. He was Lin Ling. Senior brother Lin. A figure ran over quickly from afar. He was Yun Shangqing. He glanced at Lin Ling and realized that Lin Ling was looking at him with a faint smile. That gaze made his heart tremble, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Chapter 3082. A leaf blinds one's eyes, and one can't see Mount Tai. Yun Shangqing was indeed smart. He guessed that Lin Ling had his reasons for going on a patrol in disguise, so he didn't dare to disrupt his plan. You're smart. That's right, I'm in the Illusion Gods sect for a cultivation technique. Lin Ling nodded. Cultivation technique? Senior brother Lin, just say the word, and I'll snatch it back for you. Yun Shangqing hurriedly said. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Lin Ling's gaze looked straight at him, causing Yun Shangqing's heart to tremble once again. He subconsciously lowered his head. However, Lin Ling also said, "Do you think that I am someone who bullies the weak and fears the strong? Or do you think I'm hiding my identity for fun? Senior brother Lin, you're indeed a man of principle." Hearing this, Yun Shangqing finally understood Lin Ling's thoughts. One had to admit that Lin Ling was different from the other top geniuses of the Spirit Province. He didn't tyrannically rob the Illusion God sect just because it was weak. Instead, he gave the weak enough respect and treated them with sincerity. Yun Shangqing continued, "Oh right, senior brother Lin seems to be living in the stables. I'll get someone to change his residence." Get a first-class residence? What do you think, senior brother Lin? That's good too. Let the Qi family members live more comfortably. Also, senior brother Lin, can you do me a favor? If it's within my power, I'll promise you. But let's talk about it after this matter is over. Okay. After chatting for a while, Yun Shangqing left excitedly. Lin Ling's status in the Tantric sect was only below the 4 heavenly kings. With Lin Ling's protection, Yun Shangqing could do whatever he wanted in the Tantric sect. I'm too lucky, too lucky. The entire Spirit Province is looking for senior brother Lin, and I'm the first to find him. As he left, Yun Shangqing's face was full of smiles. He was so happy that he almost flew into the sky and danced for 3 days and 3 nights. Of course, while he was excited, he was also hesitating whether he should inform the Tantric sect. However, he was also afraid of disrupting Lin Ling's plans. This made him feel conflicted. At this moment, in the bamboo forest, Lin Ling was still chewing on a bamboo leaf. He didn't expect himself to be so famous in the Spirit Province. It had to be said that in the past, he had spent a lot of time in the Qing state before finally becoming famous in the Qing state. But now, he seemed to have become famous in the spirit state in such a short period of time. Moreover, it was the entire spirit state, not just the Tantric sect. Have you heard enough? Lin Ling spat out the bamboo leaf in his mouth and said calmly. A figure suddenly walked out from the bamboo forest. It was a good-looking woman. She was Yi Mengrua. Previously, she had secretly followed Yun Shangqing because she had guessed that Yun Shangqing must have come to find junior martial brother Lin. And the result was indeed so. Seeing the surprise on Yi Mengrua's face, Lin Ling said faintly, "Don't think that I didn't notice you. In fact, Yun Shangqing and I have already noticed you. The reason why we didn't pay attention to you was that you weren't qualified for us to pay attention to you. Junior brother Lin, who are you?" Looking at the mysterious man in front of her, Mengrua felt that he was shrouded in a mysterious light. Although she followed him secretly, she arrived later. She didn't hear what Lin Ling said. She only saw that senior brother Yun was grateful to Lin Ling and asked Lin Ling to help him. This made her think of all kinds of possibilities. In the end, she thought that Lin Ling had a magical treasure and Yun Shangqing needed it. Therefore, he asked Lin Ling for help. Other than this conjecture, she really couldn't think of anything special about Lin Ling. "I'll give you a chance. From now on, stay by Qi Yang's side. It's beneficial for you." Lin Ling didn't answer Yi Mengrua. He knew that Qi Yang liked Yi Mengrua a lot. "What right do you have to say that?" Yi Mengrua narrowed her eyes and said. "What right do I have to say that?" Lin Ling looked straight at her. "Because I'm someone who just came to the Spirit Province and defeated all the geniuses of the top 10 sects. Someone who dared to reject the most beautiful woman of the Tantric sect, Longyang. Someone who defeated the most powerful genius of the Tantric sect as a martial immortal. Someone who can shake the entire Spirit Province with a single move. Is that enough?" Yi Mengrua was stunned. She knew who Lin Ling was talking about. She frowned and said, "You're the legendary senior brother Lin?" Lin Ling's face was calm. He didn't say anything, which meant that he agreed. "Huh, that's a nice way to put it. If you're senior brother Lin, then I'm the most beautiful woman of the top 10 sects, Longyang." Yi Mengrua was stunned for a whole incense stick's time before she mocked. Senior brother Lin was the most important genius of the Tantric sect. He was a talent that countless sects in the Spirit Province looked up to. How could such a person appear in the Illusion God sect? Even the top 10 sects didn't have the qualifications to have such a peerless genius. Seeing that, Lin Ling smiled and turned around to leave. He knew that when someone didn't believe him, then no matter how he explained, it would be useless. Moreover, he didn't bother to explain anything to Yi Mengrua. He had given her a chance, but she didn't cherish it. Then she couldn't blame him. "Lin Ling, I know that you've rejected my request. I hope that you won't regret it in the future." Lin Ling's figure slowly disappeared. At the same time, his voice floated out. Pa, you only have some treasures that senior brother Yun values. Do you really think that you're that important? Let me tell you, I've seen many experts of the tantric sect. I also know that senior brother Gu Mingjun once saved a genius of the tantric sect. You can't compare to them. Humph, Mengrua coldly snorted and said. The disdain in her eyes deepened. Lin Ling didn't waste any words. His faint laughter spread throughout the bamboo forest. One leaf blinds one's eyes, one can't see Mount Tai, two beans cover one's ears, one can't hear thunder. Pa. This sentence was obviously mocking Yi Mengrua for being short-sighted and ignorant. This undoubtedly made Yi Mengrua clench her teeth in anger. How boring. Pa. After leaving the bamboo forest, Lin Ling walked forward slowly. At the same time, he thought of Yu Yu and the others. However, the illusion god's true inheritance was right in front of him. He didn't lack time. The people in the hall had already left, so Lin Ling returned to his original residence. However, there were already a few geniuses there. They were extremely polite to the three people from the Qi family. Seniors, please follow me. Senior brother Yun has instructed you to stay in the first-class residence. Pa. We're going to the first-class residence? This must be fake. Pa. The three people from the Qi family were obviously very flattered. It was said that the first-class residence had many kinds of barriers. Cultivating there would be twice the result with half the effort. Moreover, no one from the major sects was qualified to stay there. Only the people from the 10 great sects were qualified to stay there. Therefore, it was no wonder that they didn't believe it. It's true. Seniors, you only need to follow us, and then you'll know everything. Pa. The geniuses bowed and saluted, as if they were afraid that the three people from the Qi family didn't believe them. Father, what should we do? Yes. Seeing that the other party didn't seem to be joking, Chiyu suddenly felt a little embarrassed. Perhaps the people they want to invite aren't us. There must be some misunderstanding. It's better to be careful. Yes. However, Chi Shi was relatively calm. He was clear about his own abilities. It's okay. Let's go with them. Yes. Chapter 3083. Remain calm in the face of trouble and achieve the great Tao. Lin Ling also looked at the geniuses and asked, are you inviting Qi Shi, Qi Yang, and Qi Yu? Yes. The geniuses saw that Lin Ling was neither arrogant nor humble, and his calm demeanor was much better than the three Qi brothers. They quickly nodded and said, that's right, it's them. Yes. That's right, those three are the ones you want to invite. Yes. Lin Ling nodded and smiled at the three Qi brothers. Yay, it's true. I've been curious about the first-class residence for a long time. I can finally see it. Yes. Qi Yu's personality was simple, and she immediately let out an excited voice. Hee, if the illusion god sect knows that we're going to a first-class residence, they'll be jealous to death. And that Gu Mingjun, let's see if he still has the qualifications to be arrogant in front of me. Qi Yang was also incomparably excited. Only Qi Shi looked deeply at Lin Ling, as if he had guessed something. Soon after, they followed the geniuses. Along the way, they also saw the people from the illusion god sect. Those people looked at the three Qi brothers strangely. How strange, they're so happy to stay in the stable. Are they crazy? Yes. Maybe they're used to the smell of horse dung. I'm too lazy to care about them. Let's hurry back to our residence. I heard that the martial arts exchange will start tomorrow, and we'll be leaving the day after tomorrow. If we don't cultivate now, we'll be wasting a rare residence. Yes. The people from the illusion god sect clearly looked down on the three Qi brothers. They swaggered forward. Seeing this, the Qi siblings became angry. Qi Yu suddenly asked, Senior brothers, are we going to a second-class residence? Yes. Junior sister, Senior Brother Yun has already warned us that it's a first-class residence, not a second-class residence. Yes. The geniuses turned their heads and laughed. Then can we stay in a second-class residence? Chi Yu asked again. Junior sister, please don't play with us. We've already prepared a residence for you, and you can take any pill you want. If you can't refine it, you can still take it away. Now that you're rejecting us, how can we report this to Senior Brother Yun? Yes. Those people immediately said with a wry smile. Very well, then, we'll reluctantly go to the first-class ward. I hope there are enough wards there. Otherwise, we'll go back to the stables. We're used to it anyway. Chi Yu shrugged helplessly. Next, they casually walked past the people from the Illusion God sect. As for the disciples of the Illusion God sect, they were all dumbfounded. A first-class residence? It was said that there were hundreds of millions of barriers. Moreover, Chi Yu actually rejected such a rare cultivation cave? Sixth junior brother, give me a slap. I want to know if I'm dreaming. Senior martial brother, there's no need to give it to me. Let's not talk about the others, just take those geniuses as an example. They are real geniuses from the 10 great sects, they can't be faked. Could it be? Senior Brother Gu isn't the one receiving the best treatment in the Illusion God sect, but the 3 from the Qi family. Those people continued to speak as they ran back. They wanted to tell the entire Illusion God sect about this sensational news. At this moment, in a corner of the palace, the experts from the 10 great sects were having a martial arts exchange. One of them had a flicker in his eyes. After knowing that Lin Ling and the others had been arranged, he finally relaxed. However, when he saw the sect masters talking to the other sects, he immediately hesitated. This caused him to remain silent throughout the entire exchange. When the exchange ended, the sect master walked over with a frown. Qing heir, I see that you're absent-minded. Did something happen? Also, tonight's exchange between the 10 great sects isn't like tomorrow's exchange between the sects of the Spirit Province. It's not good for you to neglect those seniors. Father, Yun Shangxing wanted to say something, but he seemed to be afraid. Yun Shangxing's father was also a sect master, so the sect master's expression became serious. How can a man be so hesitant? Also, you're about to step into the half-step sage realm. You're a sage. If you're so flustered, how can you talk about martial arts? How can you talk about spreading the aura of a sage and being worshipped by everyone? Father, I was wrong. Yun Shangxing took a deep breath and closed his eyes. Finally, he regained his usual calmness and composure. That's more or less it. Remember, don't panic when something happens. That's the only way to achieve greatness. The sect master took a sip of tea and said, Speak, what made you so distracted? Father, I shouldn't have said this, but I felt that there was a big change in the tantric sect. They're looking for someone, so I decided to say it. Yun Shangxing thought for a moment and said seriously, I saw Senior Brother Lin. Which Senior Brother Lin? Lin Ling, the disciple of one of the 4 heavenly kings. Bang! The teacup in the sect master's hand shattered. He was so frightened that he fell down from the table with a face full of panic. This made Yun Shangxing's pupils dilate. His father had just said that only by being calm when something happens could one achieve greatness. However, his father was clearly shocked. Qing, why didn't you say this earlier? But Senior Brother Lin seemed to have his own reasons for staying in the illusionary sect. I was afraid that if I disrupted his plans, he would vent his anger on me. Did you know? The tantric sect spread the news that Lin Ling was chased by powerful people on his way back to the spirit state. This made the 4 heavenly kings worried to death. They couldn't wait to find their disciple. Later, even the tantric sect was alerted. They almost sent all of their forces to the green state to find Lin Ling. After that, Lin Ling suddenly sent a message to everyone and told them that he had returned to the spirit state. Only then did the tantric sect stop their plan. Ah, the tantric sect reacted so strongly? What do you think? Lin Ling is the disciple of one of the 4 heavenly kings. In the spirit state, he's only below the tantric sect's lord and the 4 heavenly kings. Father, what do we do now? At least you didn't ruin the plan. Inform the tantric sect about this. I think Lin Ling isn't a petty person. He probably won't blame you. On the contrary, you've made a great contribution to the tantric sect. It's possible that you'll become a genius of the tantric sect. That's great. Senior brother Lin is my savior. After talking for a while, Yun Shangqing was extremely excited. You'd better build a good relationship with Lin Ling. In time, you'll be able to do whatever you want in the spirit state. At least half of the spirit state won't dare to provoke you. Yes, father. The father and son talked in secret. They were afraid that the news would spread and the credit would be taken away by others. However, the more they talked, the more excited they became. At this moment, Lin Ling followed the group and arrived at the residence of the first-class barrier. Here, the immortal aura was ethereal and the spiritual energy was extremely dense. Spiritual flowers and herbs were everywhere, making one feel as if they had arrived in a paradise. So this is the first-class barrier. It's really extraordinary. It's twice as good as the stable. It's not just twice as good. I can feel my soul power increasing too. It's 100 times better. Look at the free pills around. They're all priceless. Chapter 3084. Obtain the illusion god true inheritance. However, Lin Ling shook his head, glanced around, and said in disdain, "This is a first-grade barrier residence? It really doesn't live up to its reputation." If Lin Ling had the materials to set up the barrier, he could set it up even better. Therefore, he didn't care about it at all. What's more, compared to the tantric sect's simple mountain, this place was like a firefly compared to the moon. On the side, Qi Shi's eyes narrowed. He looked at his children who were about to go crazy with joy, then looked at the calm Lin Ling. He couldn't help but smile helplessly. The difference in their reactions was too big. Junior brother Lin, you're probably not an ordinary person. Putting away his thoughts, Qi Shi turned to look at Lin Ling, recalling the scene in the hall and the treatment in front of him. He could guess what was going on. Senior brother Qi, when did I say that I'm an ordinary person? Lin Ling looked at Qi Shi and smiled. Sigh, it seems that I've underestimated you. You must have stayed in the illusion god sect for the illusion god true inheritance. However, your sincerity has moved me. Qi Shi also looked at Lin Ling. He guessed that Lin Ling's background was definitely not small. However, Lin Ling was never arrogant towards them. Apart from the occasional boasting, he was usually very approachable. Such sincerity naturally made Qi Shi very moved. I'll pass you the illusion god true inheritance that you want now. After pondering for a moment, Qi Shi finally spoke, causing Lin Ling to smile. Didn't you say that you would give it to me after the martial arts exchange? In the past, I wanted to test you a little, but now I feel that there's no need. Most importantly, the illusion god true inheritance will be buried in our hands. Instead, it will shine in your hands. Therefore, I want to ask you for a favor. Qi Shi enunciated each word clearly. Don't worry, I'll let it shock the entire spirit state. Lin Ling nodded solemnly. Then, an ancient jade slip appeared in Qi Shi's hand and he handed it to Lin Ling. Lin Ling checked it and found that the jade slip was blank. This caused him to raise his head in confusion. Take a closer look. Qi Shi's smile became somewhat mysterious. Hearing that, Lin Ling checked the jade slip again. He immediately discovered that there was a world in the jade slip. There were cities, people, flowers, and living creatures in it. Most importantly, the world in the jade scroll was a real existence. It was even larger than the interface, as if it was a new JoJo. So powerful. To store the primordial chaos in a jade slip, this is the work of a deity. Lin Ling let out a cry of surprise, but his brows soon furrowed. That's not right, the 9 prefectures were created by the deities, and it's also the only one. It's impossible for a jade scroll to contain the entire 9 prefectures. Junior brother Lin, I've realized that your perception is truly terrifying. When I first obtained this jade slip, I was deceived for a full 100 years. Hearing this, Qi Shi smiled, look up at the sky, then look at the jade slip again. All right. Lin Ling quickly retracted his gaze and looked up at the sky. His gaze then landed on the jade slip again. Suddenly, he found that the world within the jade slip had changed again. Countless Lin Lings had appeared, and they were all very lifelike. I understand now. Everything is an illusion, but it's also incomparably real. This is the true inheritance of the illusion god. Lin Ling's eyes suddenly lit up. Correct, the true inheritance of the illusion god can change the world. Even deities would find it difficult to see through it. Qi Shi's gaze also became heated. At this moment, his body emitted a proud aura. In the illusion god sect, everyone disdained soul martial arts. However, how could they know how terrifying the true inheritance of the illusion god was? Think about it. When the illusion god was used, the 9 prefectures world would appear. This would make the enemy unable to tell whether they were in an illusion or reality. In this way, no matter how strong they were, it would be useless. As expected of the illusion god's inheritance of one of the 100 great bloodlines. Lin Ling also sucked in a breath of cold air. He knew that his persistence during this period of time had not been in vain. Although the true inheritance of the illusion god has been passed to you, whether or not you can use it to its peak will depend on you. Right, junior brother Lin, can you tell me who you are? Qi Shi looked at Lin Ling and asked. Actually, you should have guessed it. All right. Lin Ling put away the jade slip and smiled. Now that he had obtained the true inheritance of the illusion god, it wasn't a big deal for Qi Shi to know his identity. Of course, Lin Ling didn't plan on hiding his identity from the beginning. He just didn't want to complicate matters. Actually, we have guessed it. All right. At this moment, even the Qi family siblings walked over. Qi Yu seemed innocent, but her beautiful eyes revealed a light of wisdom. You should be Yun Shangqing's younger brother. All right. Next, the 3 Qi family members spoke at the same time. Their words made Lin Ling dumbfounded. Yun Shangqing's attitude towards you is clearly different. Therefore, your relationship with him must not be shallow. Yes. And you're a man, so you're definitely not Yun Shangqing's girlfriend. Speculating a little more, we can easily guess that you should be his younger brother. Yes. That's right, junior brother Lin. The 3 of us seem to stand aloof from worldly affairs, but in reality, we're just hiding our sharpness. We're not idiots. Yes. The light of wisdom in the eyes of the 3 Qi family members became even more intense. Lin Ling was speechless. He couldn't help but explain, what qualifications does Lin Ling have to be my brother? In fact, I'm the senior brother Lin you speak of, which is Lin Ling. Yes. As soon as he finished speaking, the 3 Qi family members were stunned. However, just when Lin Ling thought that they understood the reality, Qi Shi suddenly said, I'm also one of the 4 heavenly kings of Tantra. Yes. Obviously, they didn't think that junior brother Lin was Lin Ling. Because what kind of big shot was Lin Ling? He only appeared in their dreams. In reality, they could only hear his name forever. Lin Ling didn't want to explain anything. When others didn't believe him, no matter how he explained, it was futile. That night, Lin Ling eagerly started cultivating the illusory god true inheritance. This illusion god true inheritance was also divided into different levels. The first level, within 100 meters, could transform into a real person. A real person was immortal and indestructible, unbound by the gods, and unable to enter the 6 realms of reincarnation. This was clearly much more powerful than the illusions he had seen in the past. Moreover, when the illusion god true inheritance was cultivated to the Mahayana realm, it could transform the entire universe. Moreover, the illusions seemed fake, but they seemed real. What a profound soul martial art. After cultivating for a while, Lin Ling said in shock. At this moment, he even suspected that the current 9 prefectures was an illusion. He even suspected that he was real. Perhaps, all of this was an illusion. However, he, Lin Ling, was immersed in the illusion. Such a grand Dao cultivation method was indeed endlessly profound. For the entire night, Lin Ling comprehended the illusion god true inheritance, completely perfecting the first level. It was even more powerful than Qi Yang's cultivation. Although the latter's illusions couldn't be seen as real or fake, they could be blasted apart. This was a huge weakness. However, Lin Ling's wasn't. It was a true immortal and indestructible. With this soul technique, even if I meet an expert, I can escape unscathed. Lin Ling was ecstatic. Right now, he had powerful techniques in the 3 domains of essence, energy, and spirit. Great solar calamity destroying bow. Time and space divine steel. Dragon bone. Scabbard. Mini Kunlun. Chapter 3085. Not qualified. A night of cultivation passed quietly. The next day, as the sun hung high in the sky, the 3 members of the Qi clan hurriedly went to find Lin Ling to participate in today's martial arts exchange. The martial arts exchange this time was hosted by the geniuses of the top 10 sections. To the various sects, it was an extremely grand event. However, to the Tantric sect, it was very ordinary. However, when everyone arrived at the vast square, they found that the atmosphere was obviously different. This was because many of the geniuses from the 10 great sects were sitting at the edge of the square. I heard that a big shot is coming today. Yeah, I'm not too sure either, but our sect leader is rushing over right now. Our sect leader is the same. Moreover, I know an expert in the Tantric sect. He sent me a voice transmission last night, saying that he had found Senior Brother Lin. He asked me if I was participating in the martial arts exchange and if I had seen Senior Brother Lin. I've heard about this too. The geniuses of the 10 great sects who were arrogant in the past did not even dare to speak loudly at this moment. As for the people from the various sects, they were even more so. Each and every one of them was filled with fear and anticipation. Could it be that Senior Brother Lin was also coming to the martial arts exchange? Some of the better-looking girls were quietly swallowing pills and dressing up to make themselves look more attractive. They hoped that they would be able to win the favor of the genius of Tantra. Of course, if Senior Brother Lin thinks highly of me, that would be even better. Junior Brother Lin, I heard that a big shot is coming. Senior Brother Lin seems to be coming too. Didn't you say that Senior Brother Lin went missing? Beside Lin Ling, Chiyu asked suspiciously after she heard the news. Looks like our luck is pretty good. We're going to meet the strongest cultivators of the spirit state today. Qi Yang didn't think too much about it. Instead, he was extremely excited. For example, Lin Ling was in Qingzhou and was suddenly going to meet Emperor Qing today. Therefore, he was naturally looking forward to meeting the man who was famous in the divine land but had never met before. Lin Ling smiled and immediately guessed that Yun Shangqing must have informed the Tantric sect. However, Lin Ling didn't mind. He was planning to leave anyway. Moreover, he guessed that Yu, Big Brother, and the others would also come. Your Junior Brother Lin? At this time, a gaze suddenly turned towards Lin Ling's direction. Among the geniuses from the 10 great sects, someone slowly walked over. Azure Sea Sect's Mist Monarch? Someone with sharp eyes recognized that prodigy. Although that person wasn't as famous as Yun Shangqing, he wasn't someone the great sects could provoke. He shouldn't know Junior Brother Lin. Why is he walking towards Junior Brother Lin? Seeing the other party's cold expression, Chiyu started to worry. That's right, I'm Junior Brother Lin. Who are you? Lin Ling also looked at the other party and smiled casually. Ignorant trash, don't think that you can do whatever you want with Senior Brother Yun's protection. Senior Brother Wu isn't even afraid of Senior Brother Yun. At this moment, another person walked out from the illusionary god's sect. It was Gu Mingjun. Many people guessed that the Mist Emperor had been invited by Gu Mingjun. That's right, although Senior Brother Yun isn't to be underestimated, if we wanted to teach you a lesson, I don't think he would help us just to offend us. Another voice drifted out. It was also a genius from the 10 great sects. The entire square fell silent. All the geniuses were reprimanding Junior Brother Lin. Everyone felt bad for Junior Brother Lin. For Senior Brother Yun's sake, I'll give you a chance. Kneel down and apologize to Gu Mingjun, and I'll forgive you this time. The Mist Monarch stopped in front of Lin Ling. His long hair fluttered in the wind, making him look extraordinarily mighty. Lin Ling smiled. He originally wanted to use his strength, but when he thought of the tantric experts that were about to arrive, he was too lazy to do so. He said disdainfully, I don't know which sect you're from, but aren't you afraid that your sect master will slap your face for speaking to me like that? Furthermore, even if your sect master was here, he wouldn't dare to speak to me like that. As soon as Lin Ling's voice fell, the whole city was shocked. Even Gu Mingjun's heart was pounding. Lin Ling offended a genius from the 10 great sections. That was already a huge disaster. In the end, Lin Ling even insulted the sect masters of the 10 great sections. Even a deity wouldn't be able to save Junior Brother Lin. You're too stubborn. You still won't bow your head in front of the 10 great sections. If they kill you, no one will plead for you. Even Yimeng Ruo was shaking her head, but her words were filled with schadenfreude. It's over. Yun Shangxing alone won't be able to save Junior Brother Lin. The three from the Qi family wanted nothing more than to shut Lin Ling's mouth and stop him from speaking nonsense. You're very brave. At that moment, the Mist Monarch was so angry that he laughed. He hadn't met such a stubborn junior in the various sects for a long time. Do you know that with your strength and identity, I can kill you with a single finger? His voice turned cold, letting everyone know that the Mist Monarch was about to explode. Seeing this, Qi Shi quietly took a step forward and pulled Lin Ling. Then, he quickly bowed to the Mist Monarch and said, he doesn't know how to speak. Please don't mind him. I'll teach him a lesson when we get back. Right now, the big shots are coming. That's why I haven't done anything yet. Don't think that I don't dare to teach him a lesson. Hearing this, the Mist Monarch's tone wasn't as cold as before. However, tell him to keep a low profile. There are some people that he can't afford to offend. When we get back, if he offends anyone, he'll have to apologize himself. This made Qi Shi relax. He pulled Lin Ling and wanted to leave the crowd. You? However, Lin Ling stood there like a pine tree and couldn't be pulled away. You're not qualified. Hearing this, Qi Shi almost fainted from anger. He had finally made the Mist Monarch vent his anger. Who knew that Lin Ling's words would reignite the flame that had just been extinguished? Heavens, this guy's mouth. I really want to stuff it up. The sect leader of the Illusion God's sect was also stunned. Veins popped out on his forehead. Junior Brother Lin was very arrogant towards him in the Illusion God's sect. He could tolerate it and pretend that he didn't see it. However, when it came to the geniuses of the 10 great sects, could Junior Brother Lin not be so arrogant? Hee, it's been a long time since I've seen such a death-seeking person. What if I were included? Would I be qualified? The Mist Monarch was obviously about to explode from anger. However, before he could speak, another genius from the 10 great sects spoke up. Obviously, he was also angry at Lin Ling for not knowing what was good for him. Not enough. However, Lin Ling shook his head. What if I were included? Another genius from the 10 great sects spoke up. Still not enough. Lin Ling didn't even look at that person as he spoke honestly. This time, the entire square became even more silent. To the other sects, a junior from the illusionary god's sect was going against the heavens. Even Gu Mingjun almost fell to the ground. He had invited a genius to teach Lin Ling a lesson, but now it seemed that he didn't even need to invite Lin Ling. Lin Ling would trample on all of them. Okay, what if I were included? At this time, a thunderous voice came from afar. A burly young man in the second layer of the half-step saint realm walked over in a grandiose manner. His appearance caused even the various sect leaders to feel extremely pressured. This was clearly a genius from the Tantric sect. Brother 2, you're back. Chapter 3086. A big shot has arrived. Gu Mingjun was lucky enough to meet a dying young man in a secret realm in the spirit province. He saw how powerful the young man was, so he tried his best to save him. In the end, the young man recovered from his injuries and called him brother. Later on, he found out that the young man was a genius of the Tantric sect. He was on the same level as the legendary junior brother Lin. Of course, he wasn't as important as the latter. At that time, he knew that he had hooked up with someone powerful. Therefore, when he knew that Brother 2 had returned from the Cloud Province, he immediately invited him to kill Yun Shengqing's spirit. He wanted to tell Yun Shengqing that he, Gu Mingjun, also knew someone in the Tantric sect. This person looks unfamiliar. I'm afraid he's a genius of the Tantric sect. Such a genius only returns once in 100 years. I didn't expect him to come today. Sigh. The Illusion God's sect has provoked a big enemy today. Sigh. The square was also quietly filled with the sounds of discussion. However, when everyone was looking at the aggressive genius of the Tantric sect, a faint voice sounded in their ears. You're not enough. Sigh. Boom. The square seemed to explode. Everyone was shocked, then they became numb. That kid was more than heaven-defying. He was going to kill his way up to the 9 heavens. Gu Mingjun, the geniuses of the 10 great sects, the 3 sons of the Qi family, the sect leader of the Illusion God sect, and everyone else had their mouths agape. That kid offended the geniuses of the 10 great sects. That's one thing, but he didn't even put a genius of the Tantric sect in his eyes? One had to know that the Tantric sect was in the half-saint realm. Many people shook their heads, thinking that junior brother Lin wouldn't live past tomorrow. Sigh, junior brother Lin is dead for sure. I only hope that he doesn't implicate the Illusion God sect. Yi Mengrua also sighed. She seemed to feel sorry for Lin Ling, but her eyes were filled with schadenfreude. At this moment, the genius of the Tantric sect finally landed on the ground. He stared coldly at Lin Ling. In fact, he was surprised and didn't know what was good for him. He wanted to kill this kid with a slap. Rumble. However, at this moment, the clouds in the distance rolled. A large amount of terrifying aura spread out like a tide, making it difficult for everyone in the square to breathe. The Tantric sect is here. Sigh. It was unknown who let out a cry of surprise, but it made everyone look forward to it even more. Brat, consider yourself lucky. When this martial arts exchange is over, you'll know how to write the word regret. The genius from the Tantric sect swept a cold and indifferent glance at Lin Ling as he spoke with disdain. After speaking, he turned around and strode forward, preparing to welcome the experts from the Tantric sect. You don't know what's good for you. You've offended Brother Tuesday. Just wait for someone to collect your corpse. Gu Mingjun sneered and followed Tu Gu. The other 10 geniuses also looked at Lin Ling mockingly, their eyes full of pity. Even the people from the Illusion God sect were the same. Aside from the 3 sons of the Qi clan, everyone else was gloating over Lin Ling's misfortune. Yi Mengrua even let out a bell-like laugh as she muttered to herself, as expected of senior brother Lin, the genius who dominates the spirit province and dares to step on everyone. How majestic. Chi Yu frowned. Senior brother Lin? What's senior brother Lin? Someone thinks he's senior brother Lin. Junior sister Chi Yu, you should ask him yourself. Yi Mengrua stared at Lin Ling. At this moment, the three sons of the Qi clan could hear the sarcasm in Eminrua's words. If he's senior brother Lin, then I'm one of the 4 heavenly kings of the Tantric sect. The people from the Illusion Gods sect were stunned for a moment before bursting into laughter. They looked at Lin Ling as if they were looking at a toad. How could this brat have the face to call himself senior brother Lin? Junior brother Lin, did you say those words? Qiyu couldn't help but ask Lin Ling, I did say those words. I'm senior brother Lin, so there's no need to hide anything. Lin Ling calmly looked at Qiyu. Qiyu froze on the spot, her expression as if she had seen a ghost. Junior brother Lin, what kind of situation are you in? You can still brag with a straight face. You don't even blink. I admire you. Before Qiyu could speak, Qiyang couldn't help but speak. They sympathized with Lin Ling and wanted to help him. However, the premise was that Lin Ling wasn't so arrogant. Not long ago, he had trampled on all the geniuses, and now he was boasting that he was senior brother Lin. Couldn't he behave himself? Seeing everyone's reaction, Lin Ling shook his head and looked at the distant sky. Rumble. In the distance, thunderous booms could be heard. More and more experts were arriving. Woo woo. 9 phoenixes were singing and peach blossoms were sprinkling down. The phoenixes were full of beauties. They were from the fairy sect. Rumble. On the ground, more than 1,000 giants were approaching. They were like moving mountains, and on the shoulders of each giant stood a powerful martial artist. On the other side, a huge palace was crashing down like a meteorite. It was earth-shattering. Half of the spirit state was in turmoil. There were countless experts, and the light of the saints shrouded the square. How terrifying! No one didn't cry out in surprise. No one had expected so many great figures to come. Why are they here? I heard that they're here for senior brother Lin. Maybe senior brother Lin is among them. No matter who they're here for, it's the greatest blessing of my life to see so many saints today. Everyone in the square was in high spirits. Some of them were even trembling, and the weaker ones knelt down directly. What a grand scene. I've been in the Tantric sect for many years, and this is the first time I've seen so many experts come out in full force. Brother Tu said solemnly with his hands behind his back. He had been shining brightly before, but now he was as dim as an ant. Brother Tu, are they here for senior brother Lin? Gu Mingjun was still in shock. That's right. No one has such charisma except for senior brother Lin. Even I can't compare to senior brother Lin. Brother Tu nodded with admiration in his eyes. That can't be. Brother Tu is a genius of the Tantric sect. Have you not fought with him before? Gu Mingjun was shocked. Brother Tu shook his head. I just came back not long ago, so I haven't seen senior brother Lin. However, he has a brother called Sakra, and he's extremely powerful. A month ago, I fought with him and returned with a draw. He's a martial immortal, and his strength is terrifying. Most importantly, I heard that senior brother Lin is even stronger than Sakra. From this, you can see how powerful he is, and why the Tantric sect values him so much. Chi. Upon hearing this, the 10 great geniuses beside him inhaled a breath of cold air. A peculiar glint flashed across Gu Mingjuan's eyes as he expectantly said, Brother Tu, you are a genius of the Tantric sect. Senior Lin will definitely give you face. May I know if you can recommend me to meet him? I have the same idea. The other geniuses immediately said excitedly. I'll try my best. Brother Tu nodded slightly, but he also smiled. However, I can't guarantee that he'll meet you. Even I can't guarantee that he'll give me face if I invite him. It's okay, I'll try my best. Chapter 3087. The real senior brother Lin is back. Gu Mingjun was getting more and more excited. If he could get to know senior brother Lin, he would be able to do whatever he wanted in the spirit province. He couldn't help but look at junior brother Lin, who had shrunk back into the crowd. The disdainful smile on his face deepened. Junior brother Lin was so arrogant just now. Will he still dare to be so arrogant when he sees senior brother Lin? However, Gu Mingjun guessed that junior brother Lin would definitely not dare to. Look at that girl. She's so beautiful. That's Long Yang. Oh my god, she's as beautiful as the rumors say. She's here too. Could it be that she's here for senior brother Lin? Moreover, the sect leaders of the 10 great sects are all here. Those powerhouses are so scary. They're all saints. Could it be that the tantric sect's lord is here too? As time passed, the powerhouses in the sky landed on the ground. The entire plaza was in an uproar. This was because the number of powerhouses that the tantric sect had sent was beyond their imagination. Today is a big day for the tantric sect. After the powerhouses landed, a young man walked out with a smile. It was Yun Shengqing. Previously, he and his father had gone to welcome the powerhouses of the tantric sect. However, he didn't expect the tantric sect to send so many powerhouses. They were all here to welcome senior brother Lin. From this, one could see how important senior brother Lin was. Moreover, he was the host of this banquet. This made him feel very proud and he felt like he was bringing honor to his ancestors. This was all thanks to senior brother Lin. Senior brother Lin, please come out. The tantric sect is here to welcome you. Yes. After Yun Shengqing's voice fell, the entire plaza subconsciously fell silent. The powerhouses of the Spirit Province and the other big shots sat with serious expressions. As for the 4 heavenly kings, they smiled. They had finally found Lin Ling and he was fine. This made them feel as if a huge rock had been lifted from their hearts. Second brother has escaped death. I've been worried sick for the past few days. Second sister, you can rest assured. Yes. Among them, Sakura also faintly smiled as he looked at the 2 beauties beside him and said. They were Yu and Yu. At that moment, they both smiled and nodded. Senior brother Lin, please come out. Yes. Yun Shengqing's voice became even more agitated as he yelled again. Senior martial brother Lin really came. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope he'll look at me. Many of the sects in the square craned their necks. They wanted to see the legendary figure, but they also wanted to be noticed by this figure. Senior martial brother Lin. Even the 3rd son of the Qi clan, Qiyu, had a strange look in his eyes. I'm guessing that he must be very handsome. At this moment, another voice sounded. It was as clear as a bell and extremely pleasant to the ears. She was also the number 1 beauty of the tantric sect, Longyang. You're back, senior brother Lin. Then, laughter sounded at the same time. Welcome back, senior brother Lin. Congratulations on your return, senior brother Lin. Those voices were not loud, but they rushed into Gu Mingjuan's ears like waves, leaving them dumbfounded. They even looked at the most powerful people of the tantric sect for help, hoping that those powerful people could give them some answers. Among the powerful people of the tantric sect, an old man who looked like a saint stroked his beard and finally smiled faintly. Disciple, you're back. His voice was filled with joy, but it was like the realm emperor of the Spirit Province, announcing it to the world. Senior brother Lin? Countless people's eyes almost popped out of their eye sockets. In their eyes, the blue-robed young man had his hands behind his back. His steps were steady as if he had walked from the most inconspicuous corner of the Spirit Province to the peak of the Spirit Province. This let them know that the real senior brother Lin had returned. Junior brother Lin, no, he's senior brother Lin. Yi Mengrua could not even speak properly. She felt as if she had encountered the biggest joke in her life. That's senior brother Lin? Oh my god, I think I've seen him before. Not only have you seen him before, I've seen him a few times in the illusionary sect. Could it be that senior brother Lin has been with us all this time? The disciples of the various sects were shocked and they realized what was going on. Many of them could not even believe what they were seeing. However, the powerful people of the Spirit Province should not have misjudged him, right? Therefore, even if they did not believe it, they had to admit it was the truth. Junior Brother Lin, is it really Senior Brother Lin? Of course, the ones who were the most shocked were the 3 sons of the Qi family. That was because they had lived with Lin Ling for a few months. Little sister, the person you've always dreamed of meeting is actually right beside you. Over the past few months, you've not only spoken a single word to him, he's also looked at you more than once. Qi Yang's mouth trembled as he spoke. Chapter 3088. Laughing at the world. In their minds, Junior Brother Lin was a man of few words who cultivated all the time and liked to brag. Now, he was talking to a big shot who had defeated the geniuses of the Tantric sect, trampled on the geniuses of the 10 major sects, and caused an earthquake in the spirit state. They merged together quietly. This changed the way they looked at Lin Ling. They no longer looked at him like before. Instead, they looked at him with reverence. The entire square was dead silent. Only the Tantric sect's bigwigs kept talking to Lin Ling. Those who knew Lin Ling and those who didn't knew Lin Ling were all smiling ingratiatingly. This was because they knew that Lin Ling's disappearance had caused a huge commotion in the Tantric sect. This proved that Lin Ling was being groomed by the Tantric sect as a Tantric sect master. Young friend Lin, I'm the sect master of the fairy sect. We've met once before. My son is Yun Shangqing. Do you still remember him? The sect masters of the 10 major sects were all sucking up to Lin Ling. Lin Ling smiled faintly. His gaze landed on Yun Shangqing's father, causing the latter to smile excitedly. This was a great opportunity. Shangqing, come and greet Senior Brother Lin. No need. I'll meet him myself. Lin Ling took a step forward and walked towards the 10 geniuses. Beside him, the sect leaders of the various major sects followed with fawning expressions. There was even a hint of envy in their eyes. Yun Shangqing's father was too smart to recommend his son at such a critical moment. His son might become a genius of the Tantric sect immediately. Therefore, they had to seize the opportunity to recommend the outstanding genius of their sects. Senior Brother Lin. Yun Shangqing stuttered when he saw the calm Lin Ling in front of him. I promised you something. You can mention it now. Lin Ling said. I want to become a genius of the Tantric sect. Yun Shangqing shuddered. The geniuses of the Tantric sect were divided into different levels. The higher the level, the higher the status, and the more cultivation resources. All right. Lin Ling simply nodded. Master should be able to do such a small thing. In reality, Xing Shiyun didn't care about what Lin Ling was saying. To him, the return of his disciple was more important than anything else. Even if his disciple wanted the son of Spirit Province, he could still take it down. Senior Brother Lin, this way please. Seeing Yun Shangqing's meteoric rise, the various sect masters were unwilling to be outdone. They asked Lin Ling to follow the geniuses of the 10 great sections. As for the geniuses from the 10 great sects, all of them lowered their heads. Among them was Gu Mingjun. His expression was one of confusion. Until now, he had never placed Lin Ling in his eyes and thought that Lin Ling was a pile of shit on the earth while he was a soaring eagle in the sky. But now, it was clear who was a pile of shit. However, when Lin Ling walked past them, he did not even look at them. Not even a breath's worth of time was enough for Lin Ling to look at him. Even Brother Tu, a tantric genius, could not make Lin Ling look at him. This was a silent humiliation. This meant that none of them were worthy of Lin Ling's attention. Instantly, all the geniuses trembled. Were they that bad? So bad that he couldn't even be bothered to look at them. I don't know what's good for me. However, Lin Ling walked past them and chuckled to himself. His words were like thunder. It made the hearts of all the geniuses tremble. Previously, they wanted to teach Lin Ling a lesson. At that time, Lin Ling said that they weren't qualified and that it would be the same no matter how many people came. This made them think that Lin Ling didn't know what was good for him. But now, they thought that Lin Ling could stomp all of them to death with one foot. This made them lower their heads and their eyes filled with anger. However, when they thought of the power that senior brother Lin brought, their anger turned into despair. Sigh, we can't be worthy of young friend Lin's attention. The sect leaders of the major sects sighed softly. Lin Ling, on the other hand, was like a bright lamp that attracted the attention of everyone in the spirit state. He walked past the geniuses of the top 10 sects and gradually arrived at the side of the major sects. The people of the major sects were all excited. They lowered their heads and didn't dare to look directly at him. Some of them even knelt down. However, Lin Ling's footsteps suddenly stopped before a woman. Surprisingly, that woman was Imangrua. She stared fixedly at Lin Ling, and her eyes were still filled with shock, bewilderment, unwillingness, and rage. But in the end, they transformed into helplessness. Previously, Lin Ling had said that he was senior brother Lin. At that time, she didn't believe it. Now, she had obviously been slapped in the face. Therefore, she knew that junior brother Lin would definitely reprimand and mock her. Haha. Lin Ling looked at the group of people indifferently. Suddenly, a laughter that shook the 9 heavens was heard. Laughing waves. Laughing wildly at the world. After laughing, Lin Ling turned around and left. He didn't say anything. He replied to the people of the illusionary god sect with a smile. His smile told Imangrua how lowly they were. At this moment, Imangrua also laughed. She laughed silently, powerlessly, and regretfully. Could she only make junior brother Lin laugh? She didn't even have the right to make junior brother Lin speak. Once, there was a bright path in front of her eyes. However, she missed it. She laughed at that path and looked down on it. If she was given a chance now, she would seize it and not let it go for 10,000 years. Unfortunately, the chance was gone. None of the top 10 sects could make Lin Ling speak. It was the same for the major sects. However, Lin Ling's footsteps finally stopped. Qi Shi, are you willing to follow me to the tantric sect? Lin Ling's voice floated out. He smiled. The 3 sons of the Qi family were all stunned. Qiyang, Qiu, are you willing to become a genius of the tantric sect? Lin Ling asked again. The bodies of the 3 sons of the Qi family continued to tremble. Oh, if you're not willing, then forget it. Seeing that they were so excited that they didn't know what to say, Lin Ling shrugged helplessly and turned to leave. Bang! The 3 of them immediately knelt down on one knee. I'm willing. 100 times willing. Junior brother Lin, don't leave us behind. The 3 of them shouted one after another, as if they were afraid that Lin Ling would ignore them after walking away. Junior brother Lin, you once said that in the spirit province, as long as we mention your name, we can do whatever we want. Qi Yu's eyes were moist. Those words are still valid. Lin Ling waved his hand with his back to them. The smile on his face became wider, causing the 3 sons of the Qi family to smile crazily. Especially Qi Shi, he knew that the illusion god True Inheritance had found the best owner. The entire illusionary god sect looked at the 3 sons of the Qi family with envy. The sect leader was stunned for a long time before he finally slapped himself. I'm fucking stupid. However, no one laughed at him. Instead, they only felt sympathy for him. As for the tantric sect elites, they naturally wouldn't care about this ant. They all smiled at Lin Ling, brother Ling. Yu Yu and Xian Yuan Gu had already pounced on Lin Ling and hugged Lin Ling tightly. Sorry for making you worry. Chapter 3089. Back to the tantric sect. The scene was extremely silent. All the experts in half of the spirit state looked at the 3 of them with gratified smiles. They didn't interrupt this heartwarming moment. So he has a wife, and she's so beautiful. Wow. Long Yang's eyes kept flickering in the fairy sect. No wonder Lin Ling had always been dismissive of her. Most importantly, she realized that apart from being weaker, Lin Ling's wife was as beautiful and elegant as her. Under everyone's envious gazes, Lin Ling held Yu Yu and the rest's hands and strode into the distance. Once he moved, the powerful cultivators of the spirit state all left, as if a single strand of hair would move the entire body. This further proved that all the big shots in half of the spirit state had come here today for senior brother Lin. Gu Mingjun, stop looking. You'll never catch up with him. He's already at the top of the spirit state. Among the geniuses from the top 10 sects, Brother Tu looked into the distance and sighed. In fact, if Lin Ling had wanted to kill him, no one would have stopped him. Unfortunately, he was too lowly. The lowly Lin Ling didn't even have the motivation to kill him. Gu Mingjuan's eyes kept trembling. His size and helplessness turned into admiration. He knew that he couldn't compare to Lin Ling. He would never be able to compare. He could only look up to Lin Ling for the rest of his life. When he thought of his disdain for Lin Ling, the self-deprecating smile on his face deepened. Qi Yang, where are you going? At this moment, an exclamation came from the illusionary god sect. The three from the Qi family stepped forward and walked into the distance. To the tantric sect. The three of them didn't turn back. Can you bring me along? The previous exclamation sounded again, but this time it turned into a pleading. She was Yimengrua. It's too late. Among the three from the Qi family, Qi Yang stopped and looked at Yimengrua calmly. His words made the latter's heart tremble. She wanted to say something, but Qi Yang had already left with his father. They walked further and further as if they had reached the highest mountain in the spirit state. This made Yi Meng realize that from now on, she and Qi Yang were people from two different worlds. She could only appear at the bottom of the well, a frog at the bottom of the well. Wow! After an unknown period of time, Yimengrua finally burst into tears. Her cries were extremely miserable. Many people around the square heaved a long sigh. If they were Yimengrua, they would probably cry too. Now, I also feel like crying. The sect master of the illusion god sect was at a loss, but he revealed a smile that was uglier than crying. Under the blue sky, a large number of people turned into rainbows and flew into the distance. Disciple, what happened? Who the hell dares to kill you? Are you trying to rebel? Xing Shiyun looked at Lin Ling and said. The disciple of the heavenly court's martial god Qilin. Lin Ling did not hide anything from Xing Xiuyun. His words stunned the latter. If his opponent was a powerful cultivator from the spirit state, Qing state, or heaven state, he wouldn't be afraid at all. However, the heavenly court was no small matter, because it was a great power that spread throughout the 9 states. This is a little troublesome. Xing Shiyun said with a frown. He glanced at the master of the tantric sect, and the latter nodded. Master, I'll settle this myself. Lin Ling felt warmth in his heart. Although he knew that the tantric sect couldn't afford to offend the heavenly court, he also knew that if the heavenly court wanted to kill him, his master would definitely be the first to stand up and protect him. At this moment, he silently acknowledged Xing Shiyun's identity as his master. However, master, you don't have to worry too much. Although the heavenly court wants to catch me, they don't know where I am. The 9 states is vast and boundless. It will take a lot of time to find me. Lin Ling comforted Xing Shiyun. That's true. Xing Shiyun nodded. The majestic crowd finally returned to the huge valley. At this moment, the valley was packed with people, and the sound of chatter could be heard from time to time. I heard that Senior Lin is coming back. TSK, I didn't expect Lin Ling to be so arrogant. In order to welcome him, all the powerful cultivators of the tantric sect have been mobilized. Hee, I think you're just jealous. However, Senior Lin is the disciple of the 4 heavenly kings, and he's very powerful. It's no wonder you're jealous. Humph, what's there to be jealous of? It's better that Senior Lin is always in his strongest state. Otherwise, if he weakens one day and is kicked out of the sect, it won't be good. The higher you fly, the more painful it is to fall. I dare you to say that again. All kinds of voices could be heard in every corner of the valley. Some people admired Lin Ling, and some people were jealous of Lin Ling. Everyone had their own thoughts. Senior brother Dongmen, what do you think? Under an ancient tree, several figures leaned against the ancient tree and smiled faintly. One of them touched his nose and said casually, "What's there to see? He's just a martial immortal. That's all there is to it." Another person shrugged as if he didn't care at all. This Senior Lin is no ordinary martial immortal. It said that Chou Junlang was defeated by him. This Senior Lin's strength is quite extraordinary. The person who spoke first warned. At this moment, the eyes of the few people who were calm and collected earlier started to flicker. However, the young man who led the group still had a calm expression on his face. Most importantly, this person even rejected the Dragon Mother in front of countless people. This kind of courage is extremely extraordinary. That person continued to speak. "Oh, I've underestimated him." Hearing those words, the young man who led the group also had a serious expression. Those people were all geniuses of the Tantra. The young man who led the group was the second genius of the Tantra. He was extremely powerful and was heavily nurtured by the entire Tantra. TSK, as the rumors say, the entire sect has moved out. However, senior brother Dongmen, last time when you were being chased by your enemies, I remember that the Lord of the Tantra only asked you a question out of concern. Not to mention the entire sect moving out, even the Lord of the Tantra didn't come out to look for you. Sigh, I feel that it's unfair for you. No matter what, you're the second genius of the Tantra. Why is your treatment worse than Lin Ling's? The young man who spoke first said again. His words were trying to sow discord. How could senior brother Dongmen not know that? However, even though he knew, he still felt very uncomfortable. The difference in treatment between him and Lin Ling was simply too great. And Lin Ling, what right did he have? Rumble. At the same time, the various big shots in the sky had returned, causing the entire valley to become extremely lively. Of course, when they saw the blue-robed young man, many people were in awe and envy. Sure enough, it was as the rumor said. In order to welcome Lin Ling, the entire sect's experts had turned out in full force. He was also the rising star with the greatest reputation in the history of the Tantra. Senior brother Lin. Welcome back. Many people were no fools. They immediately started to flatter him. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.